college football. The 1997 home opener for the Sooners of Oklahoma. And today the fans here in Norman were greeted by this beautiful, big scoreboard, the biggest in college football, Sooner Vision. And it may get a workout today because Syracuse comes in with the talented Donovan McNabb. He's got all the moves. A starter since his redshirt freshman year, this versatile and talented junior can move it on the ground or in the air. 38 touchdown passes, 6 rushing scores so far. He's led the Orangemen to 19 victories in his career, while the team has averaged 31 points a game with McNabb at the controls. Meanwhile, for the Sooners of Oklahoma, Damon Parker. Is he the next in a long line of outstanding Oklahoma running backs? You bet. As a freshman last year, he rushed for nearly 1,200 yards in a backup role. His 6.6 yards per carry average led the Big 12 as he was named the offensive newcomer of the year. And the crowd has exploded here as the Sooner Schooner has taken the field. And we'll be back to Norman in just a moment. There is something about a home opener in college football that gets those goosebumps bumping, and they are bumping today here in Norman. The Sooners and the Orangemen of Syracuse. And hi, everybody. I'm Roger Twibble. I'd like to introduce you to Mike Golick, my partner today. Mike, 8 losses last year for Oklahoma, the most in their storied tradition. John Blake has got a big job at hand. How did they get to this point? What's Blake got to do to turn it around?
Well, Oklahoma would love to get back into prominence in the college football scene. Since 1950, the most national titles, more than anybody, with 6. Now, you have to go back to the very Switzer days, back when Oklahoma put the fear in the heart of their opponents. Now, John Blake, when he took over last year, was the 3rd coach in 3 years. That's tough on the players because of new styles and new systems. Now, what John Blake wants to do to get this program going again, play his young guys, get his young players in and build their foundation again.
And, of course, when you play those young guys, that means some mistakes, and they've been going through a learning experience here at OU. Right now, let's go down to the sidelines, introduce you to the man working down there today, Myron Patton. Myron?
Guys, we've kind of got what is called a family affair, or maybe just call it a family war. Syracuse quarterback Donovan McNabb is first cousin with OU starting cornerback Pee Wee Woods. Now, these two grew up competing against each other as kids, and, of course, they'll do so again today, but on a much higher level. We'll be watching this story throughout the day to see who maybe gets the upper hand first.
All right, Myron, thank you very much. As you take a look at the Syracuse sideline there, and the man who leads them, Donovan McNabb, their outstanding quarterback. Syracuse won the toss, and they will receive the wind coming out of the south here today, and that's where Oklahoma will kick off with the wind to their back as 15, Jeremy Alexander, the senior from Claremore, Oklahoma, will send it back deep to Jim Turner, number 15 at the bottom of your screen, and Kevin Johnson, number 12. Have a look at Alexander. He has struggled, folks, in the field goal kicking department. And we'll get into that a little bit more. He missed a couple of field goals against Northwestern 2 weeks ago. And we are underway, and that is a huge kick. And Syracuse will bring it out to the 20-yard line to start things. And let's check out the chilly starting lineup for the Syracuse offense. As you take a look at the offensive line there, the coaches, the left tackle, and Kiernan, maybe their best offensive lineman at left guard. Wide receiver Spotwood has been the big man so far this year, and they'll use 2 tight ends besides Cinceno, also Roland Williams, and then Conrad's a great one.
Only if they took him out of the game last week in their loss, I guarantee he will get the ball plenty today.
And they'll start with the lone setback, which is Rob Conrad, the junior from North Andover, Massachusetts. Right up the middle, and nothing going there as the Oklahoma defense will drop him to a 2-yard loss. Kelly Craig is the man high stepping, number 97.
Craig had a huge game last week in their loss, 24-0, but had 11 tackles, graded out in the 90th percentile.
There's a look at Donovan McNabb, and he has been the man since his redshirt freshman season. A wonderful athlete, a great passer. He's a leader. Outstanding quarterback for the Syracuse team as they try it on the ground again and nowhere to go. The first man was Corey L. Ivy, and then Kelly Gregg came in to make the stop. As we look at that Oklahoma defense, Callens is a true freshman. Gregg is tough at the nose tackle position. The backers, maybe the fastest man on the team.
Travian Smith, keep an eye on number 36, probably the best athlete on the field on both sides of the ball.
And in the secondary, Pee Wee Woods will follow that story, the cousin of Donovan McNabb, the quarterback for Syracuse. 3rd down and 10 from the 20. McNabb, he gets out of the pocket, and he's got a lot of room to run. McNabb across the 30, and he's got the first down, out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Travian Smith, the closest man to him, and that's not what Oklahoma wanted to see.
That is exactly what they're trying to avoid. And for 2 weeks now, Oklahoma preparing for this game has practiced rush lanes. Ends need to keep Donovan McNabb contained. To see the end coming to the inside like that, that is going to free him up. Cornelius Burton came inside, gave McNabb the outside. They've got to keep McNabb in the pocket. He's most dangerous when he rolls like that, not only running, but he makes some of his biggest throws outside the pocket.
McNabb gets the first down. John Blake, the head coach for Oklahoma in his 2nd year, as Kyle McIntosh into the backfield right now with Conrad. The motion man there is Roland Williams, the tight end, number 85. McNabb on the play action, looking for Lowe, and just overthrows the sophomore wide receiver from Liverpool, New York. Now, last week, Donovan McNabb struggled a bit, and I think he took a lot on his shoulders, Mike, in that loss to North Carolina State, maybe deflected it off the rest of his team and said, hey, that was one of my poorest outings.
And that's exactly what a veteran should do, an upperclassman should do. You know, he said, hey, guys, this one's on me. He's no doubt the leader of this offense when he steps in that huddle, put it on his shoulders, and I agree with you. He deflected it off his teammates, and he says, I vow I will play better today.
Paul Pasqualoni, the very successful head coach at Syracuse, with a 2nd down and 10 at the 33-yard line, as the Orangemen will set up in the I with 3 wide receivers. Now McNabb doesn't like what he sees, and he's going to take a timeout. So Syracuse will burn a timeout with 13:31 left to go in the 1st quarter, as we're scoreless and just underway here in Norman. Interesting look at the last 13 games. You see Syracuse 10-3 over that time, scoring 36.1 points per game. Meanwhile, Oklahoma 3-10, allowing 34.8.
Oklahoma's defense, the offense, no doubt, the strong point defense really has to tighten it up.
So after the timeout, McNabb now checking off at the line of scrimmage on 2nd and 10 from the 33-yard line. Quick drop coming near side. He's got his receiver Quentin Spotwood at the 41-yard line. Mike Woods, the sophomore from Del City, Oklahoma, was there on the coverage. Spotwood had a big game against North Carolina State last week, caught the touchdown pass on the opening play of the game, and then returned a punt later on for a TD.
Yeah, he's their go-to guy. 10 receptions for the 2 games. He matched up a lot on Mike Woods. He's averaged 20 yards even per catch in his career. I tell you, but watch Oklahoma's defense. Their cornerbacks are come up and try and play tight on him and try and jam him at the line.
Big 3rd down and 2, and this was a thorn in the side of Oklahoma against Northwestern 2 weeks ago. They couldn't stop the Wildcats on 3rd down. That was Cinceno in motion, as they'll hand it up the middle, and going absolutely nowhere was Conrad, as Travian Smith was right there to meet him.
Well, Travian Smith actually had man coverage on the motion man. And when the motion man came back, he brought Travian Smith right to the play.
What about Travian Smith? 6'6", 230, runs about a 4.44.
Travian Smith was following the motion man, and it brought him right to the play. He was following Cassim Cinceno in motion. He had him in coverage. It took Travian right to the play.
For the Orangemen is number 24.
Punting situation on 4th and 3, as that is Peter Ferris, number 24, and not the regular punter, Doug Duncan, who will be punting from back at the 25, and Jarrell Jackson back inside the 15 to return. Now, Jackson returned a punt for a touchdown against Texas a year ago. And this is a low kick that Jackson will move up to the 20, and he's hit just as he catches it. Down there for Syracuse, number 7, Jason Poles, and a penalty marker goes down. Penalty marker goes down at the 20.
You have to have a 2-foot cushion, the receiver does, to catch the ball, and Poles may have violated that one.
39 yards on the punt by Ferris. Poles, by the way, getting the start over to Bucky Jones.
Kick catch interference on the kicking team. 5 yards from the spot of the catch. first down.
I'll tell you, this man spends a lot of time on special teams. They work on it every day, and it's a big part of their game plan.
It is, because a lot of times, you know, when coaches want to squeeze practice a little bit, invariably the special team loses 2 minutes here and 3 minutes there. But not Pasqualoni. He says they're getting their full time. He really considers it a third, and a third offense, defense, and special teams there. Jason Poles just a little too eager to make the tackle.
Ball will be spotted at the 26, first and 10 as Oklahoma almost quickly up to the line of scrimmage. Alexander, the motion man. Puente fumbles the snap and covers it at the 24-yard line. And the Chili's starting lineup, the Oklahoma offensive line, the big freshman Scott Kempenich, 6'6" and 320. McClure, the veteran, has played more than any other player on that line. And Alexander, the tight end's a great one.
Only 2 catches last week. He's considered one of the best tight ends in the Big 12. They got to get him the ball.
And Parker will get a lot of touches today. And watch for Fassan, the 250-pound fullback. 2nd and 11. As they give it to the second man through, and that is Parker. He gets across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Damon Parker, brought down by Keith Bullock. Puente. This is what he did against Northwestern 2 weeks ago. And believe me, folks, Eric Moore, the junior from Dallas, is ready on the bench, and John Blake will not hesitate to go to him if Puente doesn't produce through.
No, he sat down with both quarterbacks and said, listen, if one of you is struggling, or if I get a feeling, it could just be a feeling, I'm going to go with the guy I feel is going to get the job done. Could be a quick hook today.
Oklahoma just 2 of 13 in third down situations in their opener, as they've got it with the big man, Fassan, and he's going to come up just short at the 35-yard line. There's the defensive line. Danish is one of their best players. He's been slowed by an injury, not quite 100%, and they've got an outstanding linebacker too, Mike.
Antoine Pons, keep an eye on this guy. He is a hitter. He will fill a hole and probably will be a finalist for the Butkus Award this year.
And in the secondary, look for Phil Nash. He is a playmaker, and as I mentioned, Poles getting the start over to Bucky Jones, who had some surgery for a bone chip in his leg this past week. Brian Shackelford back at the 20 to punt it on a 4th down and 1. And Quentin Spotwood, dangerous. That ball was nearly blocked, and a penalty marker is going to go down. Spotwood fields it at the 19, and he'll just run it out of bounds at the 23-yard line. But Shackelford, the baseball player turned punter, got one high and inside that time.
Well, he's had some trouble. He'd have a short one, a long one, a short one. He was kind of like the Dow.
Yeah, the Dow Jones.
Market up and down last week. And Syracuse said, hey, we might as well go after him. We'll try and harass him a little bit.
A little brushback.
Harass him just a little much. Does a good job of going down, just like you said, on a good brushback pitch, hit the ground.
Shackelford was the MVP of the Big 12.
Running into the kicker by the receiving team. First down.
Stan Gibbs, guilty party. A couple of special team penalties already. You know, we talked about Pasqualoni and how he liked to use that special team, and a couple of early mistakes gives Oklahoma some early life.
Remember what John Blake told us yesterday? He says, above everything else, we got to be better, but he says, I'd like to be a little bit more lucky, too.
Tell you what, you have a choice. You'd rather be lucky than good, and really, he could really look for something right now.
So maybe this is the break Oklahoma's looking for. First and 10 from the 40. They moved the ball, Mike, awfully well against Northwestern 2 weeks ago. They just shot themselves in the foot down by the goal line.
Watching tape of that game, I don't know how they lost it outside of a couple of mistakes.
4 wide receivers that time as they hand it up to the big man. That is Jermaine Fassan, 6 foot, 259-pounder. Antoine Pons makes the tackle, but a gain of 6.
And I think Oklahoma does better, Roger, with quick hitters. You know, we saw in practice, watch their practice, they like some of those counters, some delayed rushes. But I think when they do the quick hitter, get Fassan and get Parker to the line of scrimmage as quick as they can, that's when they get their biggest gain.
Dick Winder, their offensive coordinator, wants them to run 90 plays, so they hustle up to the line of scrimmage, usually go on an early count, as Parker is the motion man, and they hand it to number 20 there. That is Michael Rose, the backup fullback, and he doesn't find any room as Jeff Danish, the senior from Staten Island, New York, makes the stop as we check some scores from around the country. BYU's jumped out on top of Washington in the early going, and Colorado and Colorado State, that's developed into a great matchup. From the Big 12 in the WAC. There's a look at Danish. Got 3 tackles and 2 sacks in the first 2 games. 3rd down and 5. I mentioned the futility. Last year, just 28% on 3rd down, and Puente is going to be dropped for a loss back at the 37-yard line. Moreland Greenwood, the redshirt freshman, and Antoine Pons, the senior, were both there to nail it.
That was a broken play on Oklahoma's part. And, you know, just what happened last week to them, they'd have a couple of good plays, a couple of good runs, and then a breakdown. Not so much the defense making a good play, but a breakdown on their offensive side, and that's what Coach John Blake is trying to get them to get out of that habit.
There's Shackelford, the senior from McAllister, Oklahoma. His first kick. He's a senior now. He walked on, try to help out this team in need of a punter. Was 6 yards. His next one was 51 yards. He fumbles the snap there, but gets rid of it. And Spotwood is going to take it back at the 16-yard line. Got it blocked. Spotwood still on his feet. Quentin Spotwood tiptoeing down the sideline. I don't see any flags. One man to beat. Touchdown. Spotwood takes it. The second week in a row, Quentin Spotwood has taken a punt back for a touchdown. 84 yards. And just after it looked like Oklahoma might have gotten a break on the roughing the kicker, on the ensuing punt, Syracuse takes it back for the score.
In all 3 of Syracuse games this year, they've had a special team touchdown. Spotwood scoring 2 of them. A great block, and I'm sure we'll see a replay on that by number 3, Maurice Jackson will check that on the replay to really free him up and turn the corner.
So on for the extra point is Nate Trout, the sophomore, out of Merritt Island, Florida. And Trout converts it, so at 8:27 left to go as we take a look at Spotwood here.
Look at the outside block. He just came past you. Maurice Jackson, number 3, got a great block that got Spotwood on the outside, and he did the rest.
7-0. Syracuse leads Oklahoma. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. Chili's Grill and Bar, home of the Big Mouth Burgers. State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And Marriott Hotels, Resorts and Suites. We believe when you're comfortable, you can do anything. Roger Schweibel, Mike Golick, and a key block here, Mike.
Take a look. It's coming into the left, from the left of your screen. Number 3, Maurice Jackson, gets the block right there. That it frees Spotwood to the outside, and boy, he does the rest. Some nice toe stepping down the sideline.
Syracuse to kick it off with 8:27 to go. Nate Trout sends it down. Jarrell Jackson is the deep man in the middle, and he takes it at the 12. And Jackson up to about the 27-yard line. You know, special teams have been really futile for Oklahoma. In '96, they had 3 punts blocked, 3 punts botched, 11 missed field goals. They allowed 5 kicks returned for touchdowns, 3 punts and 2 kickoffs. I mean, you just cannot let that happen.
Well, when that's happening, there has to be more emphasis put on in practice, and maybe at this point there's not. Again, we're talking about 3 head coaches when John Blake took over in 3 years. And here's the special team coach for Oklahoma, Pete McGinnis. You know, they've gone through some people. Again, different philosophies, different systems. Maybe just need a little more time on the practice field.
Well, they had it by committee last year, and McGinnis is the man this year. 1st and 10, 27-yard line. Handoff coming near side. Parker trying to find some room. I'll tell you, one of the things I really like about Damon Parker, he's only 5'10", 182, but he can really lower the shoulder and take on a defender.
Yeah, he knows how he can hit the outside with speed, but you're right, he knows how to get down, and he does a great job of spinning off blocks. Rarely will you see him get brought down by the first tackler.
Gadsden and Darius made the tackle. You see the numbers there, the most by an OU freshman since Spencer Tillman.
And he was a backup.
Yeah, started just 3 games last year. Gain of 7, 2nd and 3. Parker's going to get it again as he leans forward. He will be close to the first down at the 38. Jason Poles, the junior from Glassboro, New Jersey, was there to make the stop. And John Blake told us, he says, Parker will get the ball as much as he wants it. The key is as long as he's producing and he wants it.
One thing they're concerned about is him tiring at the end of the game. Now, last week was an exception. They were down they were shut out, down by a lot of points, so they had to kind of throw out the running game. So they'll give it the ball as much as he can handle it. If he starts dragging a little bit, you know, they're going to have to give it to Fazan a little more, but I'm sure he'd love him to touch the ball as much as he can.
As they're going to measure this to see if Parker got enough for the first down. I'll tell you, the nose of the ball resting right next to the stick. This is a predator. It's just a little. You know, last year, the 8 losses, the most in school history here at Oklahoma. They lost their first 4. It was their worst start in 35 years. The 3 of the 4 losses were to WAC teams. TCU, San Diego State, and Tulsa. And they went on to beat Texas, which was a big win.
Big win.
3-8 on the season. But this man knows he's got Cal coming up here, and he's got to get some players that believe, and he's got to get some confidence established, and they can't continue to make mistakes like letting that punt come back routine.
And you're going to see a lot of young guys, as I said in the open, a lot of young guys playing. They're going to be John Blake guys, and he's going to build with character guys that he's going to bring in.
Well, just 3rd and inches. And Fuente will lean forward, and he gets the first down. Let's go down to the field right now and check in with Myron Patton. Myron?
Yeah, guys. You know, Oklahoma's usually a very hot and humid state this time of the year. And, of course, you might think that may be an advantage for the Oklahoma players. They're here all the time. But I talked to some of the coaches, and they would much rather be kind of cool down here because their depth situation is not very good. In particular, a guy like Damon Parker who has asthma problems.
All right, Myron, thank you very much. Yeah, last week it was in the 90s back in this area. And, of course, Syracuse playing at home in the Dome last week. And it looked like some of their players could have got tired. As on a 1st and 10 from the 39, the pitch to the near side. And it was Parker one more time. Gain of about 5 is Donovan Darius, the senior from Camden, New Jersey. The veteran safety came up to make the stop.
Nice play by Donovan Darius. I had just said that Parker rarely is brought down by the first man. Darius does a nice job of being the first man and bringing him down.
There's a look at Darius, 3-year letterman. Also a deep snapper on the punting team.
205 pounds.
And you're going to make yourself valuable. 2nd and 5. That was Matt Anderson, the tight end in motion. This is Passan. Passan spins and leans and gets near midfield. That'll be close to the first down. Darius once again on the tackle. And I'd like to remind you, coming up tomorrow here on ABC Sports, if you follow the other kind of football, you won't want to miss this World Cup qualifier from Portland, Oregon, between the United States and Costa Rica. 3 teams from the region will go to France for the World Cup, and this would be a big, big victory for the U.S. It would put them in very good shape for France 98. On 3rd and a yard, they hand it straight ahead, and that's going to be close as Passan needed to get to midfield. Brian Coleman, 78, and Antoine Pons, he can lay a hit on you there to make the stop.
Antoine Pons, he is a sticker. Keith Bullock, one of the other linebackers that came, he moved from strong safety to linebacker. He's the athletic linebacker. Antoine Pons is the hitter.
And they got enough for the first down.
I saw him watching the game film last week. They'd have a lead blocker come through on Pons, and you would see them both disappear into the line, and the fullback would be going backward back into his backfield. Pons can lay it on you and probably be in the running for the Butkus Award this year.
6'1", 252 from Jacksonville, Florida. Syracuse goes far and wide to find their players. In motion is Jackson on a 1st and 10. Parker's got a hole. Damon Parker takes the tackler all the way down to the 21-yard line. He carried Donovan Darius about 5 yards.
Get it in Damon Parker's hands. That is the battle cry. And the receivers also know that because they're downfield blocking. Number 24, Chris Blocker, an appropriate name, does a great job freeing up Damon Parker.
He was the 2nd leading freshman rusher in the nation last year behind Big Ron Dane of Wisconsin, who Syracuse put the clamps on in their opening game of the season. Had 105 fewer carries than Ron Dane. And already today, I think Dane only gained about 40 yards against
Dane. He gained 46 yards on
yeah.
13 carries. They put the clamps on. How about that? You're getting the top 2 freshman running backs, a big test for the Syracuse defense. But this guy, Damon Parker, he is something else. He knows how to run over you, and he does a great job of spinning around you. A 10-yard average already. They want to get him in. Absolutely. Keep giving him the ball.
1st and 10 from the 20. 86, Jason Freeman, one of the tight ends, as they pitch it back to Parker. Parker cuts it out. Damon Parker tripped up inside the 5, down to the 2-yard line. Rod Gadsden saved a touchdown with that ankle tackle.
What a move he put on Donovan Darius, number 20 from Syracuse. The idea with this pitch, Roger, spread the defense out. Make the holes a little bit bigger so Parker can pick wherever he wants. That's why they want to go wide. It spreads the defense out. You see a lot of gaps in between the defenders. And look at the move he puts on Darius. Cuts right back underneath them. Just gets tripped up. But this is where they had a problem last week.
This is the problem. They had it down against Northwestern 2 weeks ago several times inside the 5, came away with nothing. As Squinty goes up to the line, they'll run it up the middle, and they don't get it that time. Brian Coleman was right there, the 300-pounder from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, to make the stop on Damon Parker.
Cuyahoga Falls. I don't think you get many of them out of there.
Major league.
They are digging deep to find their recruits at Syracuse.
Spoken like a true Cleveland native. 2nd and goal from the 1.
Huge psychological lift if they can get this ball in the end zone.
Now, Fasson is the lone back. He's a big load, about 260. Let's see if he can barrel over people. Well, I'll tell you, Syracuse stuffed him up right at the goal line. Moreland Greenwood, one of the men there. Greenwood is just a 220-pounder, and he took Fasson right on.
And Syracuse is known more for their speed on defense. They don't have a lot of size. They have a lot of speed. Oklahoma would love to play some smash-mouth football today and run it right up the gut. But even at the goal line, that gets very hard to do. You see Greenwood just filling. Nobody blocks him. So it's a one-on-one run. And to be honest, Fasson, at 248 pounds, he's got to be able to run him over and get into the end zone.
On 3rd and goal, Fasson, the lone back again. They're going to pitch it to him. Fasson, touchdown, Oklahoma. Steven Alexander got the block that got him into the end zone.
Rod Gatson was coming from the corner. You're absolutely right. Alexander stayed on him and gave that hole.
Man, that's a confidence builder right there. Come back after the punt return for the TD and take it down and put it in the end zone.
Syracuse actually had a good defense called for it, bringing Gatson from the outside. Alexander, who's really improved on his blocking. Great pass receiving tight end, but really improved on his blocking. Stuck with Gatson and kept the hole open.
Now this is Jeremy Alexander to attempt the point after. And maybe kicking some extra points. No, they've ruled out wide. Oh, goodness.
They have a lot of problems.
Alexander, who missed a couple of field goals against Northwestern, has missed the extra point as Fasson knocks it in the end zone. 7-6 Syracuse. Pee Wee Woods, Quincy Woods is on that USC team. Let's check in with Myron.
Yeah, Jermaine Fasson is an interesting story. When he came in a few years ago out of Louisiana, he was like 280, 285 pounds. They thought about moving him to the offensive line. He was that big, but he lost 30 pounds. Now he's a trim 249, and as you can see, he's still got the speed to go with it.
All right, Myron. Well, they call him Gumbo. He's from Louisiana.
Oh, that's an appropriate
nickname. And he just had to stop eating so
much. I was going to say, 282 probably got into the Gumbo a little too much. I'd say he didn't lose the weight in his legs. He's got some big, powerful legs on him.
So Alexander, who missed the extra point, will kick it off. And back deep, 15, Jim Turner, and 12, Kevin Johnson. As this time, Turner will go back in the end zone, and he's going to bring it out from about 5 yards deep. And he gets across the 15 up to the 18-yard line. One of the first men there for Oklahoma was Mike Woods, number 2.
Well, you know, Oklahoma's got to be ecstatic that they got it into the end zone. They had problems last week when they got into the red zone, and they're doing it the old Oklahoma way too, Roger. 11 plays, 72 yards, all running plays, 17 snaps this game, all have been rushing.
John Blake wasn't fooling us when he said we got to get back on the ground and get it done.
He's going to have some tired players after this game too, all that running.
Well, their quarterbacks have been struggling, no question about it. They're 20 and more. Orangeman first and 10, 19-yard line, 4:13 left to go first quarter from Norman. Conrad, the first back through, and I'll tell you what, he has not gotten anything done so far on the ground. Martin Chase, 93, the senior out of Lawton, Oklahoma. And also Kelly Gregg. Gregg's an interesting story, number 97. They list him at 6 foot. He's about 5'11". One of the greatest high school wrestlers in the history of Oklahoma. Never lost a match.
2-time state champion. A lot of people said, well, why don't you wrestle at Oklahoma? He said he wanted to just concentrate on football, and he's doing it very well. Between him and Martin Chase at defensive tackle is one of the strong points of this team.
Vader's his favorite pro wrestler in WWE.
I think he wishes he had Vader's size. He's about 6'8".
Second and 8 from the 21. on the option. McNabb will keep it, puts his head down, gets up to about the 25-yard line. Martin Chase chased him down that time. And, you know, really, in talking to the Syracuse coaches, Mike, I don't know if they want to have to use Donovan McNabb in that option too much.
No, I don't think they do. And one big difference you're going to see in the offenses today, you'll see Donovan McNabb check off at the line. I guarantee you will almost never see Eric Moore, if he gets in the game, or Justin Fuente check off. They will run the play that's called. Donovan McNabb has been the starter here for a number of years. You know, very experienced quarterback, knows how to read the defense, and he will make a lot of checks at the line.
Last year, Syracuse led the Big East, completing almost 50% of their third down situations. 2 games this year, they're only 28% on third down. On the 3rd down and 4, McNabb to drop straight back, sends it near side. Conrad, the intended receiver. It wasn't even close. 93, Martin Chase got some pressure on him that time.
And that's what they want, push up the middle. They want the defensive ends to stay wide and the defensive tackles to push up the field. They feel Donovan McNabb is not as effective if he's a pocket passer. If he gets outside, then it's going to be a lot of trouble. A great matchup today with the defensive line for Oklahoma and the big offensive line for Syracuse. So far, Oklahoma is winning.
Peter Ferris, a freshman who hit his first punt for 39 yards, is back inside the 15, and there's Jarrell Jackson.
And I'm telling you, Donovan Darius is snapping the ball. He's 205 pounds. I put my biggest guy right over the top of him and drive him back into the punter.
Well, let's see what happens. Well, nobody else. Blocked! It's blocked! Covered by Syracuse at the 2-yard line. Travian Smith, 36, came busting through to get it. And Syracuse, Rod Gatson got back and fell on it. But Oklahoma makes that big play. They create something. And now they've got a great opportunity here to take the lead with 2:40 to go in the first quarter.
Well, we talked about Travian Smith, probably the best athlete from both teams. Coming from the right side of the screen, does a great job of laying out and putting his hands where the ball is. A lot of players will make the mistake of keeping their hands high. He gets them down low and does a great job and answers the call. When Syracuse gets a big special team play, Oklahoma comes right back with one of their own.
Eric Moore is in at quarterback. Hassan, touchdown Oklahoma! Second touchdown of the day for the junior from Marrero, Louisiana, Jermaine Hassan.
The best thing that can happen to young players, Roger, is get confidence. And right now they are gaining confidence with every play ripping up chunks of yards, huge special team play and getting in the end zone. It's better than anything else is getting their confidence level up, something John Blake has been preaching for 2 years now.
Oklahoma's going to go for 2. Look at this full house backfield. Now they shift. Eric Moore, the left-hander, looking in the end zone. He'll throw it. Got it. Yes. Number 90 with the catch, Matt Anderson. 3rd string tight end. The 2-point completion. And the Sooners lead at 14-7, and they are going wild here at Memorial Stadium.
Well, here you see the difference between Justin Fuente and Eric Moore. They bring Eric Moore in, the left-hander, and the faster quarterback, roll him to the left the way he's throwing the ball. And then he's got an option. He can either run the ball or pass the ball. I think he thought about running it for a bit. You see, again, he is a left-hander. So you want him to roll to the left, gets outside easy, thinks about running, but a lot of Syracuse guys there says, hey, I better take a shot. Matt Anderson gets a little bit ahead of the defender and scores. A great job of platooning at quarterback. You may see a little more of this today on the strength. If they want to do an outside, more athletic play, you go to Eric Moore. More pocket passing, you want Justin Fuente.
Matt Anderson, his first reception of the year, and it's a big one. And we might add the first pass completion of the day.
Oklahoma, they got to be stoked right now on the sideline again with the young guys. John Blake, we talked, you see them congratulating each other. That's something this team has needed. Last week they knocked on the door more than a few times and didn't get in, and that'll really take the wind out of your sails quickly. So to get in the end zone, and now 2 times, really got to build this team up.
Well, a lot of this game, as you well know, Mike, is physical. But a lot of it is upstairs and believing that you can do something.
There's a big difference. And there's Travian Smith, the man who blocked the kick. There's a big difference in a junior or a senior losing some confidence. When you get freshman and sophomore down in the dumps, that hurts even more. And these guys are getting out of that mold now.
Alexander to kick it off. It goes back into the end zone. Kevin Johnson's telling him just to keep it right there. Well, you can follow all of ABC's regional college football coverage live online with real-time play-by-play displays, drive charts, and more, all on America Online, keyword ABC Sports. Well, Owen Field has been owned by the visitors lately. The last time the Sooners won here at home, September 23rd of '95 against North Texas.
Doesn't bode well for the home crowd fans when they come watch again. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about, but Oklahoma's trying to turn that page today.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. 2:30 left to go. First quarter. Cinceno was the man in motion, and the pitch to Conrad. Conrad across the 25, lowers his head, gets up near the 30, close to a first down. The best running effort by junior Rob Conrad. And there's been a lot of talk that they don't get the ball in his hands enough, Mike.
Yeah. As we take a look at Coriel Ivy pursuing. Last week they stopped giving it to Conrad when they got that lead over North Carolina State. And North Carolina State able to stop the Syracuse offensive drive and score when they started giving the ball to Conrad again. It helped. You may see Conrad run a little more outside because of those two fine defensive tackles for Oklahoma.
Not quite enough for the first down. 2nd and less than a yard. Anson Lewis, who's checked into the game, number 41. He'll be in front of Conrad, and they get the first down. You know, it's interesting to note that Donovan McNabb is so talented, and he's a great drop-back quarterback, terrific arm. I mean, he can throw it 60, 70 yards down the field. But in talking to the coaches last week from Syracuse, you got the feeling they want to simplify things and not try to do as many things.
Well, yeah, they'd rather him not make the big plays on the run. They would like a more complete offense, more of a pocket passer, only get out if they have to. But, you know, when you have a great athlete like Donovan McNabb, I compare him a little bit to Randall Cunningham, who I play with in Philadelphia. Right. Sometimes does his best work out of the pocket, and it's really tough to harness that.
1st and 10, 33-yard line. That's 19 low in motion to the far side. McNabb pressured by Gregg, eludes one man. Can he get away from two? He's tackled as he's going down. Man, I'll tell you what, 95, Rocky Bright, a true freshman from Tulsa, 6'4" and 235, who is one of the outstanding young freshmen in the country. Got a piece of him.
Well, this is what they worked on all week. Look at the left of your screen, the left defensive tackle, Kelly Gregg. He does a nice job avoiding getting the rush. And then Rocky Bright does not let him get back outside. That's where the problems occur, and that's what they worked on all week. They actually have lines painted on their practice field to stay in their rushing lanes and not let this guy get outside.
Now, he showed up for practice. He was called Rocky all through high school. He told the coaches, call me Darryl. They started calling him Rocky again. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Just over a minute to go, first quarter. Sooners lead at 14-7. On the short drop, nice catch made there. Two big tight ends in the Syracuse offense. That time it was number 85, Roland Williams. Cassim Cinceno, the other tight end, both 6'5", both about 260 pounds. Rodney Rideau made the tackle.
Yeah, they like the threat with the big tight end. They use them more for running. These aren't guys that are going to blaze down the middle of the field. They're more possession receiver type tight ends on routes like that. They'd really like to use them in a two tight end set for blocking.
On a 3rd down and 5. Split backs. Conrad to the near side. He's looking at Conrad. And Rob Conrad leans forward. He's going to be close to the first down at the 43-yard line where Mike Woods makes the tackle. It'll depend on the spot as Conrad, who has been productive, Mike, when he's had a chance to touch the ball so far this year. 15 carries, 124 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, they've got to get him the ball. And in a play like that, when you swing the pass outside, he's got a definite advantage over the DB. 178-pound Mike Woods going against a 255-pounder. Oklahoma took a chance there and went on a blitz. So Woods had him in man coverage coming out in the swing, but Conrad just too big for him.
Well, every time he had touched the ball coming into this game, 17 times, he'd gotten 10 yards a touch. So,
well, you'd think you want him to touch the ball a lot more than that.
You'd like to get it in his hands. It's enough for the first down. 1st and 10. They spot it at the 42-yard line. Out of the eye. Play action as they swing out. McNabb's going to throw to Conrad, who just started thinking about running upfield before he actually caught the ball. Terrence Malone was there on the coverage, and we've completed the first quarter of play from Owen Field in Norman. Oklahoma leads Syracuse 14-7. Welcome back here to Norman. Roger Twibell, Mike Golick, Myron Patton along with you on a rather pleasant early September Saturday. Temperatures in the low 80s. Nice breeze coming out of the south. Really a pleasant day. Mike wishes he could have suited up and been down on the field.
Tell you what, I'd love to go suit up. The only thing is I lasted about 2 plays before they had to carry me off to the oxygen tank.
2nd and 10 from the 42 as we start the second quarter of play. Oklahoma with a 14-7 lead over the Orangemen of Syracuse, and on the straight drop, they're going to try to screen to Conrad. He makes a nice shoestring grab, cuts it back up, and Conrad loses the football at the 41-yard line. Boy, he made a nice catch to go down low to pick it up. Dale Allen made the tackle, number 84, the weak side linebacker, and the ball will remain with Syracuse.
And this is a smart play call here by Coach Pasqualoni. Oklahoma's been getting a good rush, so a way to stop it is a screen pass, and you dump it out to Conrad, get him in open space. Again, 250 yards going down. A great job coming from behind, knocking the ball out.
Yeah,
comes right back to him. Yeah.
Why hasn't Syracuse gone deep for the pass?
Normally the corners in Bill Young's defense for Oklahoma are play up and tight. They're disguising a little more and switching a little more. They're playing back off the ball a little bit, knowing, I think, that Donovan McNabb likes to go deep and hit those big plays. They're really mixing it up well.
1st and 10, ball at the 40-yard line. Syracuse watch the pitch around. 18, Gerald Daniel got it. Gets about 5. That's all right. You know, it's nice to show them something different every once in a while, just to let them know you've got that there. Hey, we told you at the top about the story with Donovan McNabb, his cousin, the cornerback for Oklahoma, Pee Wee Woods. I asked Pee Wee if he had any secrets about his cousin.
He has a tendency to stare down where he wants to go. And I'm gonna look at it for the first quarter and see if it's been true for the first half. And if I see that he's going to spot where he's at, then I'm on spot with it. Everywhere he goes, he throws the ball. Sorry, I gotta do my job. That's for the pick.
So on 2nd and 6, McNabb going to run out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. Kelly Gregg with some pressure, and then Rocky Bright, 95, was over there. But Cuz said he watched the film and he saw something.
Yeah, he said he thinks his cousin, Donovan McNabb, kind of looks at his receiver a little too much and doesn't really look him off. So he's going to watch his eyes, he said, in the first quarter and get a read to see if he really does do that. And that play there, McNabb had way too much time. Again, he got to the outside, something Oklahoma does not want to let him do, because that's when he's going to burn you deep.
We'll have a rebuttal from Donovan a little bit later on. That's maybe a weakness in Pee Wee's game. 2nd and 4, Kyle McIntosh, 28, and Anson Lewis, 41, have checked into the backfield. So Paul Pasqualoni shoveling his backs. Third down and 4. As McNabb goes to the far side, and the catch made over there. Mike Woods was on the coverage. And the reception there by number 8, Quentin Spotwood, who has been, of course, the favorite receiver so far this year as we take a look at the stats from the first quarter.
I mean, Oklahoma's doing it the old-fashioned way. They're running the ball. No passing yards. They have thrown the 1 pass on the 2-point conversion, but no passes out in the middle of the field. You look at the total yards from a high-powered Syracuse offense. Give a lot of credit right now to that Oklahoma defense.
That should be 49 and not 9 there.
That's still 49 is still nice.
How do you like my math?
That's very nice. That was quick. I didn't even math major.
I didn't even have the little computer in front of me. 1st and 10, 26-yard line. Now, there seemed to be there's a problem. One of the backs, McIntosh, was signaling over to the sideline about McNabb, and it looked like McNabb was sick. I mean, he was bent over behind the center, and McIntosh was signaling over to the bench. Now, last week against North Carolina State, McNabb was very lethargic, even to his coaches. They said they'd never quite seen him that way in the second half. And let's face it, these guys are from upstate New York. Temperatures have been in the 60s up there, even in the 80s. It's a big difference for them.
Oh, it really is, especially you see the flags blowing on the top of the stadium, but down on the field, it's not as breezy. So if the air's not flowing down there, the humidity kicks into it a little more, and Donovan McNabb is sick to his stomach.
You said that very nicely. I was wondering how you were going to do that. That never happened to you, did
I
it?
could have said it another way. Well, usually if you're going to do it, try and, on the ball or something that's going to affect the other team.
That's a good point.
You know what, when you're the quarterback, though.
It's easier when you're a defensive player to do that.
Exactly. When you're the quarterback and, the high-profile type guy, you don't want to come across looking like that. D linemen, they don't care where they get sick to their stomach. I'll use the correct term.
Yeah. Into the game is Keith Downey, number 14, a senior from Fairport, New York, a young man who's already graduated here at Syracuse. Very, very bright individual. Downey, one of the captains. So on 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line, McNabb is out of the game for the moment. Hand off to McIntosh, and he doesn't get anything. Martin Chase, senior from Lawton, Oklahoma, was right there to make the stop. I want to remind you, a lot more college football coming your way next Saturday here on ABC Sports as America's biggest road show invades Ann Arbor. It'll be the Buffaloes of Colorado and Michigan. Then live regional action begins at 2:30 Central on ABC Sports. Most of you will see UCLA and Texas or other regional action. Check your local listings for the game on your ABC station and the games available from your cable operator as McNabb is checked back into the game on 2nd down and 8 from the 24-yard line. Tight end Williams in motion. McNabb looking down the middle and makes the catch at the 15-yard line. Number 12 over there was Kevin Johnson, junior from Trenton, New Jersey, just his 2nd reception of the year. This was a Oklahoma defense last year, Mike, that allowed 24 touchdown passes. They only picked off 5 passes. They were 102nd in the nation in pass defense. And you figure, you're going to test them in that area.
Well, they've begun to attack a little more. Again, the corner's up, but right now they're playing off. Syracuse is going to start taking advantage of that with some 10 and 15-yard in routes. You look at defense coordinator Bill Young for Oklahoma.
1st and 10, 15-yard line. McIntosh hit right at the 15, and that was Kelly Gregg. What benefit is it for a defensive lineman like Gregg to be a wrestler besides a football player?
Oh, and we talked to him in practice, and I had wrestled, and my brother Bob, who played a lot in the NFL, had wrestled, and it's leverage. It's all leverage. You look at these guys, say, what a strong player. It's not strength. It's hand position. He's a short guy anyway with some big legs. He gets down low, and he knows how to use leverage. When you're a wrestler, as soon as you get your hands on an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, you know who has the leverage, and you know how to adjust it to get yourself the advantage.
This will be the 14th play of the drive. 2nd down and 9. Just over 11 minutes left to go first half. McNabb looking for the tight end down the middle. Now he's going to the back of the end zone. Overthrows the intended receiver, Jeff Lowe. As good as Spotwood played last week, the coaches graded Lowe out higher once they looked at the films.
Lowe is a great route runner. The fastest guy in the world, but a great route runner. There he just ran out of end zone. And the one thing with Oklahoma, you saw Donovan McNabb had time to throw the ball. One thing what Oklahoma does, when they try to stay in their pass rush lanes, sometimes it takes away some of your pass rush moves, and it'll give the quarterback a little more time.
Check out some of the scores there. Upset, Temple beat Boston College. Wow. 3rd down and 9 from the 14. 3 wide receivers for Syracuse. McNabb looking to the side. He's got a man open in the end zone. Touchdown. Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson from Donovan McNabb.
Terry White on the coverage. The safety had him in man coverage all the way. Just ran a crossing route across the whole field and let his speed. That's what beat Terry White, his speed. And he's running 40 yards across the field on the route.
4th touchdown pass of the year for McNabb. 37th of his career as Nate Trout will come on to attempt the point after and tie the game up at 14. Trout, who getting a chance to kick outdoors for a change, as Donovan McNabb has led Syracuse back, and it's all tied at 14. And welcome back here to Norman, Oklahoma, where the Orangemen of Syracuse have come back to tie this game up at 14. Seen a couple of nice drives by both squads, and the youngsters out in force here today.
Number 36, Trout. For Oklahoma, Terrell
14 plays, 80 yards, 643. A touchdown pass to Kevin Johnson from Donovan McNabb.
Talked about what an athlete Travian Smith was. He's one of the 3 back deep for the kick.
Well, he's been bugging John Blake to do that. Blake didn't want to do it, but it looked like Smith won out. As Jackson will take it right up the middle and across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Now, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team. Today, Chevrolet has awarded over $6.5 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Did you ever get that award in your days at Notre Dame?
I got it. Oh, boy. 1, 2, 3. No, never. Nice plaque. My brother Bob got a couple. Nice plaques.
Eric Moore is the quarterback. The junior out of Dallas. First and 10, 26-yard line. Damon Parker. They get about 3 up to the 28, where Antoine Pons will make the stop.
You know, we talked about the quarterback situation, and you see Eric Moore in a ready. John Blake said, I will not hesitate at all to make the pull. I'll go on feeling. I'll see how I feel. A lot of it's going to be on a gut instinct. Really can't say Justin Fuente didn't throw the ball. Well, he didn't throw it at all. He just feels at this point, Eric Moore, that gut feeling of John Blake, an old football player himself, you know, is going to go with Eric Moore.
Second down and 8. Moore can run with it. A little late getting out of the pocket that time. A little indecisive as Jason Walters, number 90, was the man that finally brought Moore down. You know, we watched practice the other day, and both of these quarterbacks were just, even in practice, struggling, throwing the ball to where the receivers had a good chance to catch it.
Yeah. A lot of the balls hit him in the stomach or by the hip, not really in stride to let him run with the ball. You know, John Blake has made no secret about the fact that he's not really sure these quarterbacks can go out and win the games for him.
On 3rd down and 8. On the option, Parker cuts it. Look at this run. Damon Parker will take it back inside. Takes on the defender down to the 39-yard line. Nash was the man that finally got him. Well, he makes some quick cuts, doesn't he?
This guy has got it all. Let me tell you, he's holding his stomach there a little bit. Look at Michael Rose, number 20, does a great job on the lead block. Actually gets 2 blocks. First here, the cut block on number 52, Marlon Greenwood, and then he gets up and actually makes another block after the cut. You see it right there. That's Rose making another block. That's Damon Parker just using his speed and quickness.
33 yards on the pickup.
31 on that run. Parker now with over 100 yards on 9 carries on 1st and 10. And Moore wants to throw it. Spins one man around. Now it's intercepted. Picked off by number 20, Donovan Darius. Darius running across the field and is stopped at the 47-yard line. Those are just the kind of mistakes that Oklahoma's been making last year and through the first game, and now this second game this year.
This is absolutely what kills him. You just see a great play by the offense with Damon Parker here. Eric Moore trying to just get rid of the ball. You know what? Throw it into the stands. Even if you have to take the penalty at this point, throw it into the stands. He was throwing off balance, not really looking where he was throwing the ball. He just, you know, and that's what John Blake was saying. John Blake, because these guys are young, is not going to go over there and yell at him. He's going to put his arm around his shoulder and say, listen, here's what you did wrong. Here's what you need to do the next time.
And see, the problem is you've just had a long drive by Syracuse. Your defense hasn't been off the field that much, and now they're right back out there. That was the first Oklahoma pass attempt, ill-fated, other than the 2-point conversion, of course, as McNabb wants to go downfield, eludes Kelly Gregg. Now he goes deep, down the middle. Catch made at the 5-yard line by Turner. What a throw and what a grab.
Donovan McNabb showing why he is a great athlete. Avoids the rush at first by Kelly Gregg. Gregg leaves his feet. Defensive lineman, you're taught don't jump. You're going to see McNabb go up with the pump fake. Kelly Gregg, 97, going to come into your picture. He leaves his feet. McNabb's able to duck underneath it. Here's where he's dangerous. He can throw the ball easily 70 yards. A beautiful pass to catch.
That was that pump fake from his basketball days at Syracuse.
Yeah.
50 yards on the pass play. First and goal, 3-yard line. Turnovers have been the story in this game. The advantage right now to Syracuse as McNabb checks off at the line of scrimmage. Handoff and into the end zone, D. Brown. Brown, the youngster who fumbled late in the game against North Carolina State, gets some redemption with the touchdown run, and Syracuse has taken the lead.
I think McNabb checked off to a short side of the field run. Oklahoma really had it stacked to Syracuse strength. I think he checked off, had D. Brown come back to the short side of the field, the weak side of the field. It worked. The hole was there. This is what kills Oklahoma. John Blake has got to get on that sideline and say, listen, guys, we've driven the ball on him. We can do it. We just got to stop the mistakes.
Nate Trout to attempt the point after. And it's good. 8:14 left to go first half. Syracuse 21, Oklahoma 14. Roger Twyble, Mike Golick, and Myron Patton along with you here in Norman, Oklahoma, as Syracuse has taken a 21-14 lead.
Take a look at Eric Moore.
Eric Moore, who threw the interception. Donovan Darius, his second pick of the year, senior from Camden, New Jersey. As Trout will kick it off, and Jackson back deep for Oklahoma. With the wind behind him, he sends it to the back of the end zone. Well, tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern, 3 Pacific, the World Gymnastics Championships from Lausanne, Switzerland. Men and women's team competition, as well as the men's all-around. America's own Dominique Moceanu and Kristen Maloney. Then at 7, 6 Central, don't miss the women's all-around competition. Gymnastics on ABC Sports.
You want to talk about fearless people. They throw their bodies all over the place.
Well, you know, Eric Moore still at quarterback. One thing they haven't done today is gotten the ball to Steven Alexander, but they've gotten it to this man, DeMond Parker. Parker with the first down at the 31-yard line, where Phil Nash will knock him out of bounds. Greg Moyer and Sammy Williams doing the job blocking.
It's called a counter OT. It's a play that looks like it's going to start one way and comes back against the grain. You pull the backside guard and tackle. Sammy Williams got out in front, number 75, all 322 pounds. And when you list someone at 322, there ain't no way they're 322.
Well, you know, that's the interesting thing about listing weights and height. If the guy's 6 foot, he's usually 5'10". Right. And if he's listed at 320, he's usually 350.
Absolutely. Right? Oh, yeah.
Well, you want to tell us your biggest weight?
No.
First and 10. From the 32, little inside action right there. And the pickup across the 35 to the 36-yard line. The ball carrier, Michael Rose, the senior from Abilene, Texas. And Moreland Greenwood was there on the stop. And, folks, this fella is a football coach. If you just saw his picture somewhere, you just say, Dick Winder is a football coach. He
is a coach. He's right next to that word in the dictionary. Got that gravelly voice. And when he speaks on that football field, it's like E.F. Hutton.
Second down and 6. Trying to come near side. Not much for Parker. He might have gotten a yard there. Antoine Pons. And also Derek Corley on the tackle.
Going to be a great matchup. Already Antoine Pons, probably with a handful of tackles. Good matchup with him and Parker. What Syracuse needs to do here, Roger, as we see Oklahoma running the ball 24 times, and just because of that stat, Syracuse should be putting 7, 8 guys up on the line. Force Oklahoma to throw the ball. They've got to stop Parker and Frazan. Force them to throw the ball. There's no doubt that's the weak part of this Oklahoma offense.
And Eric Moore wants a timeout. So with 6:56 left to go in the first half, Moore has called a timeout. Oklahoma will have a 3rd and 5 when we come back to Owen Field here in Norman. And we'll look forward to checking in with John and Todd at halftime. Hey, did you ever get to Blackledge when he was...
He was one of the quarterbacks I actually did sack one time.
Did you actually sack him?
Steve Grogan with 2 neck rolls outran me one time, but I got Blackledge.
On 3rd and 5, Moore's going to try to turn it up. He's close to the first down. And let's see where they spotted as Moreland Greenwood, the redshirt freshman, was over there to make the stop. You know, this Syracuse defense from a year ago, they were tough. They were 10th in total defense in the nation, but they've had to move some people around, Mike.
Well, they have. They moved Keith Bullock, a strong safety, up to linebacker. They're a more athletic defense now than a big power defense. They like to move with speed. They like to use some agility and athletic agility, especially Keith Bullock, who was only about 228 pounds, but like Travian Smith, he is also a great athlete. They're measuring for a timeout, for a first down.
Yeah, Moore was close, and they said, we just got it.
Interesting call. You think they have to go for it here. John Blake, with a young team, you got to take some chances.
Oh, that is going to be a chance. They're going to go for it, too. Dick Winder makes the call, so on 4th down.
Yeah, I don't think Dick Winder hesitated. They have had problems in the kicking department, both field goals and punting. And this is, he said, one of these decisions, you're going to have to make. Do you forego the kicking game to try and keep drives going? I think that's a good call for Oklahoma.
The line of scrimmage is now just over the 41-yard line. 4th and 10.
So they need to get to the 42 for the...
That's a 6-4-0.
The referee, Tom Ehlers, telling the clock operator to take the clock back to 6:30. That was at 6:35. This is a mixed crew of Big 12 and Big East officials. Tom Ehlers is from the Big 12. He is the referee today. All right, let's see what Eric Moore can do with the Sooners. On 4th and inches. Moore's going to take it over the top.
I think he got enough. They're going to give him the forward progress before he got bounced back. The referees came running in pretty quickly. I think he got enough.
All right, 1st down for Oklahoma. And while we've got a moment, let's check in with John Saunders in New York. John?
Roger, Tennessee and UCLA. Corey Gaines had intercepted Caden McNown, taking that for a touchdown, 57 yards. And then Peyton Manning hooks up with Jermaine Copeland. They also hook up for the 2-point conversion. That's your Burger King update. Tennessee leading UCLA 17-0. Roger.
All right, John, thank you very much. A couple of games out on the West Coast today. Tennessee, UCLA, and of course later tonight here on ABC will be Florida State and USC.
The city of Los Angeles has their work cut out for them. Taking on Tennessee and Florida State. They could knock back L.A., the #2 TV market, and your colleges trying to get back into that elite.
Well, I would say what you've got today, we're seeing in Donovan McNabb, and other folks are seeing in Peyton Manning, the 1 and 2 quarterbacks in the country. Now, the people in Syracuse would tell you McNabb's #1, and the people in Tennessee would tell you that Manning's #1. 1st and 10, 42-yard line. Eric Moore on the option. Will pitch it back to Parker. He has got some room if he can get to the corner. The spin, and he is brought down on a beautiful play by Donovan Darius.
Back to Devon Parker.
Again, you can't say, you see Parker, he's a great runner, gets the yards, but the guys that do that grunt work, again, Michael Rose, #20, with a great lead block, again with the option. Watch Rose out in front. He's going to get the chop block. You see it on the right hand of your screen coming in. Chopped him right there. He gets Greenwood again. That's the 2nd time he's chopped him down, and then Parker does the rest.
There have been so many great running backs here at Oklahoma, going back to Heisman Trophy winner Billy Vessels and Steve Owens, the athletic director here now. Billy Sims, Joe Washington. You can go down the list on a 2nd and 3, and Fassan spins, and he'll get close to the 1st down. But I think that what we've seen of this young man from Tulsa, Damon Parker, he is the next in a long list of great running backs.
And he could be one of the best coming out of here, Damon Parker. I don't think there's any doubt, barring injury always. The way he's running now and the way he ran last year in a backup role over 1,100 yards. Here's a guy that can have a legitimate Heisman candidate in the next year or two.
We're going to get a measurement here.
Now, something I like what Oklahoma, they're running the ball very successful, but you're going to notice when we take breaks like this, Syracuse players sometimes are down on a knee, bent over a little bit. This heat may be getting to them a little bit, and it could prove beneficial later in the game in the 3rd, 4th quarter if Oklahoma keep wearing them down.
Well, this has been a running attack by the Oklahoma Sooners today. This is not the old wishbone attack.
No.
But this is a running attack. You got to go back to 1974. They played Kansas State, and they set the NCAA record rush for 782 yards.
You got to wonder, were they going against blocking dummies? How do you rush for 782 yards?
I'll tell you what. The Wildcats might have been that then. They are not that now. I can tell you that for a fact.
Could you imagine K-State going to that film session the next day? Boy, I'd call in sick.
Oh. There's the Syracuse bench. Guys sitting down with that fan working on the backside. And there's the Oklahoma
on their feet.
Yeah.
It's a big difference that you'll see an effect later in the game.
3rd down and less than a yard for Oklahoma, as Moore will keep it, and he should have it right there.
He'll be close again, whether he has it or not. There won't be a doubt. They'll go for it on 4th down again.
Delane Morgan and Moreland Greenwood. Both on the stop.
Again, these are very active linebackers. Greenwood, Fuller, Pons is the hitter, but very active, a lot of running with their backers. But right now, Oklahoma doing a great job of getting down low in it.
I'll tell you what's key for Oklahoma today, Mike. 7 of the 8 third down situations have been from 5 yards or less. And, I mean, you're going to get your conversion rate up when you're going from 5 yards.
5 yards or less, there's probably no doubt they're going to run the ball. After that, they're going to throw it. And the way they've been throwing it, they're taking a chance.
Trips to the near side on 1st and 10 from the 47. Parker, look at the cut he makes right there. Now he tries to get it back to the middle. And he is at the 40, still spinning. Did they blow the whistle?
I think the ref was trying to blow the whistle and come in there.
Well, if they would have blown it where we thought they might have blown it, he would have gotten about 3 more yards.
Right.
But let's see where they spot it. They're going to put it down at the 47-yard line. Well, he is a very, very alert and quick foot. You know, the players that can cut it back to the middle are the special ones, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And you look again, we talked about how the first player rarely brings him down. You can see how many people he makes miss. First, Antoine Pons, and then a whole slew of people that just can't bring him down. What he does so well is he avoids the big hit. He knows how to drop the shoulder and avoid that first big hit.
2nd and 10, no gain on that last play as Moore's going to swing it out. And an errant pass there. The intended receiver, Michael Rose, and he had some room. Closest man to him was 31 Stan Gibbs, and Moreland Greenwood applied the pressure that time.
Well, and this is what you're going to see Oklahoma again, not known for that passing. Syracuse needs to get up on that line. Get some quick pressure now. It's 3rd and long. Maybe blitz a little bit, get some quick pressure into Eric Moore because we've seen he has a tough time making those quick decisions.
4:07 left to go, first half. Syracuse 21, Oklahoma 14. Sooners trying to put this drive together, but they've got a 3rd and 10 right now. And some whistles. We got a Syracuse timeout.
Timeout called by
Syracuse timeout with 4:07 left to go, first half. And, well, the last time these two teams met, it was a pretty darn good football game. Here is today's Marriott moment. In 1994, the Sooners jumped out to a 24-point halftime lead against the Orangemen when in the 3rd quarter, P.J. Mills fumbled on this sure touchdown, keeping Syracuse alive. The Orangemen then scored 29 points, taking the lead with just over a minute to play on this 48-yard pass from Kevin Mason to Marvin Harrison. But the Sooners come back, trailing by 2 seconds to play. Scott Blanton hit a 48-yarder to give OU a 1-point victory. And it just doesn't get any more exciting than that.
Now, these two teams have met 3 times. Oklahoma has won all 3. That's the last one, an exciting one. You gotta love when it comes down to a field goal. Unfortunately here, I think for Oklahoma, they've had a lot of problems with their field goal kicking, and I don't know how much confidence they'll have in Jeremy Alexander if he were to line up for a winning field goal attempt.
Well, Alexander, as a sophomore, was a prolific kicker, hit 14 out of 17. Struggled all of last year, just made 10 of 21, and he has struggled this year. He missed his first 2 against Northwestern. John Blake told us the other day, he says in practice he just lines up and knocks them right through, no problem. Today he missed an extra point.
Last week he missed 2 short field goals in the time that would have kept Oklahoma in the game against Northwestern. But he missed some short field goals, and you said missing the extra point, and that really, really hurts the confidence level in the coach, in the kicking game.
3rd down and 10 from the 47. Will Oklahoma consider this 4th down territory? There was a blitz, and Moore's got all kinds of room. He's got the first down. As Moore gets to the 27-yard line, that time Syracuse was bringing people, and the protection up front was the key to spring Moore up the middle.
And what they did is Syracuse brought people to the outside, so that left the middle open up. The middle opened up. People are going to be coming from the outside. See Pons come in the middle, he gets pushed in. You see the blitzer come from the right on the outside. It leaves it up, and I'm glad Eric Moore ran the ball, because now Syracuse has to think, okay, when Moore gets out of the pocket, he is a definite threat to run, not just throw the ball. Now he's put that doubt in Syracuse's mind.
1st and 10, 27-yard line. 3:48 left to go, first half. Gerald Williams, the motion man, as they'll hand it right up the middle. Michael Rose inside the 15. Donovan Darius was there to make the stop.
Well, I'm glad Michael Rose got a carry. He's been the workhorse. He's been doing some great blocks for Devon Parker, and they give him the ball, and the quick hitter up the middle is coming right at you.
First and 10, Oklahoma.
Nice cutback. Good block by number 54, Greg Moyer, the right guard. Rose does the rest, cutting back across it.
Also, Will Macias, number 77, with a nice kick-out block on a 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line, and trying the right side, Fasan, and there was nothing working right there. Oklahoma with 2 timeouts remaining, and the clock running, coming down on the 3-minute mark here in the first half. I'm wondering how Syracuse is holding up in terms of the heat. The temperature is about the mid-80s right now.
I think they're having trouble that last time out when they walking off, everybody pulling their helmet off. You see the Oklahoma guys walking to the sideline, keeping their helmets on. This really, you may not see the effect now, but if Oklahoma continues success running, that 3rd and 4th quarter is going to be tough on Syracuse.
14th play of the drive on 2nd and 12. Parker up the middle, spins, can't elude the tackler who had him by the ankle. Keith Bullock, 33, and Donovan Darius, and those 2 guys are getting a workout today.
Boy, it's amazing. It doesn't look like Parker made anything, but he still gains 5 yards. I mean, this guy, and they're more successful when they do the quick hitters, Roger. They're trying those counter OTs. They're trying the delayed runs, and those aren't as successful as the quick hitters.
And we got a Syracuse player down. That's Jeff Danish. And he's working on his right calf there, and that's what happens when you get a little dehydrated. You start cramping up. And I don't ever try to judge injuries from up here, but that looks to me like a cramp.
When they're pushing the toe back like that, what they're doing is stretch. You get that cramp, it balls up in your calf. And I mean, let me tell you, you want to talk about some pain. That'll make you scream. And what they'll do is they'll push his toe back and try and stretch him out. They'll get him to the sideline. These guys have got to drink a lot of water. I mean, they have to drink so much water to the point where they don't want to drink anymore, and then they still have to force feed it down them. And that's why you'll see some of these guys probably, as Donovan McNabb did, may get sick, but they have to keep putting it back in.
Well, we've got more college football coming your way here on ABC Sports. Coming up tonight, of course, it's Florida State and USC. Bobby Bowden is 22nd year. The Seminoles always tough. The Seminoles and the Trojans, John Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what college football is all about. Tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. As Jeff Danish being helped off the field. You know, the other problem when the coaches are telling you drink lots of fluids, sometimes you drink so much you can't eat.
Absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't happen to you very much.
No, I've never had a problem eating. But you need to get that substance in your stomach. You're right. And they took him into the locker room. They may even hook him up to an IV to get some fluids in.
3rd down and 7. Ball at the 12. 2:18 left to go first half. That's Parker, who goes in motion to the top of your screen, and Moore trying to get to the outside. That's a heck of a football play right there by number 56, Delane Morgan. Looked like a quarterback draw maybe. Just stepped back a little bit and wanted to cut it to the outside.
Yeah, because I think they were so successful at it on the 3rd down last time. Eric Moore was to the right of your screen. You see him coming, he just runs him down. He actually gets blocked. Michael Rose blocks him. The way Eric Moore is going, he's able to make the tackle. That was going to be a quarterback draw.
Now this is going to be key here because Alexander, Jeremy Alexander has come on. He has missed, folks, as I mentioned, he has struggled. 10 of 21 last year. And this one is up, and it's good. And a penalty marker is down, though.
And the field goal is up and good. We have a penalty marker on the play.
So Alexander, who missed an extra point earlier in this game, missed 2 field goals against Northwestern and struggled at the end of last year, knocks one through from 30 yards out.
Looks like it might be against Oklahoma.
Oh, man.
Boy, some bad luck. A little discussion down there. Jeremy Alexander's got to be, come on, guys. I finally got off the schneid. Give me a break.
He'd only made 4 of his last 13 attempts.
Flags up, he gets started. We did have illegal formation. We have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. The play stands. Yes, the point is good.
Boy, he just can't kick one and be done with it, huh? Got to be a big production to see if you got a good field goal.
Oh, man, what a boost for that young man, Jeremy Alexander, the senior from Claymore, Oklahoma.
What's big there, too, is that was a long drive, over 15 plays. They needed to come up with something. There's nothing more demoralizing than hold the ball for as long as you have when you're losing, take up that much time on the clock and come away empty.
You know, kickers are a lot like pitchers in baseball. I think sometimes you just sort of lose your stuff, and you just got to keep throwing it, and you just got to keep kicking it. And you know, John Blake, that's the one thing that impresses me about. He's very patient with these players.
And he's going to be. Even some of the older guys that are playing haven't played a lot. So, and that is, I think, the strong point of John Blake and why I think you'll see Oklahoma build back up to the program they had years ago, is because he does have patience with the player. He really is looking at the character of the player. He wants great athletes, but he's looking at the character of a player, a guy that's going to be able to stay in school.
Second youngest coach in college football. Dana Dimmel up at Wyoming, the youngest. Sand Springs, Oklahoma, played here at OU under Barry Switzer, came back, was a grad assistant, also an assistant coach, worked with Barry at the Dallas Cowboys, and now in his second year. And you know, Mike, the rebuilding thing in this day and age in college football with the limited numbers, I mean, it just takes time. No excuses. It just takes time.
And you know what? And a lot of times alumni aren't willing to give those 5-year programs anymore. It's usually a 3-year deal, and you better be ready to go.
Short kick coming down to Kevin Johnson. And Johnson's got a blocker in front of him and some room. Johnson finally driven out of bounds over at the 45-yard line by the kicker, Jeremy Alexander.
You know, that's something that doesn't show up in the statistics. You see a long return, but it came because of a line drive kickoff. He just makes a nice field goal. It's a line drive kickoff, makes it an easy return for Syracuse.
37-yard return on that kickoff. So with 1:19 left to go, and Syracuse with the ball at the 45-yard line. They've got one timeout remaining. There's Rob Conrad and Damon Parker. Well, the reality is that Parker and Oklahoma have been running the football today, and Syracuse has had more success through the air. 3 wide receivers. They'll hand it off inside, and that is D. Brown, the redshirt freshman from Altamont Springs, Florida. Kelly Gregg and Martin Chase both there to make the stop.
And that's why Conrad, as we just saw his statistics, has not been able to run. It's because of Chase and Gregg in the middle. These are 2 very good defensive tackles who are controlling that inside line of scrimmage right now.
21-17, Syracuse with the lead as we bear down on halftime. McNabb is dumped from behind. 93, Martin Chase. The ball came loose, but they say he is down at the 39-yard line.
Well, now you want Oklahoma to use a timeout here. I mean, they got 3rd and long.
They've got 2 timeouts remaining, 38 seconds.
You see the rush again, middle of the screen, Gregg and Chase, both of them, right in McNabb's face. I'm really surprised they're not calling a timeout here.
Now they finally... No, they're not going to call it.
Now, this is surprising me because one play, they can get the ball back. They blocked the punt already. Why not try and do it again?
3rd down and 16. And McNabb's just going to hand it off. Brown with some good yardage across midfield down to the 46-yard line, but that'll end the first half. That is very surprising. Don't forget, coming up, the Valvoline halftime 97 with John Saunders and Todd Blackledge from our studios in New York. And welcome back here to Norman, Oklahoma. Roger Twibel and Mike Golick. An exciting first half. Syracuse with a 21-17 lead as we start the second half. And Donovan McNabb brought his team back.
Well, he did. Nice rollout where he's most dangerous, hitting this touchdown to Kevin Johnson. You have over 100 yards passing. 50, though, did come on one play.
That tied it up at 14, but Parker was the guy that kept Oklahoma in this thing.
And it's hot out here, and they got to hope they can keep giving him the ball and he doesn't wear down, because when he touches that ball, good things are happening for Oklahoma.
Damon Parker over 100 yards rushing in the first half, and now let's take a look at the Dean Witter halftime statistics, and there are a lot of zeros up there, Mike.
Boy, there sure are. You look at the passing yards for Syracuse. You have to understand 50 of those yards came on one pass, one long play, and the rush yards, 37 plays for Oklahoma, 35 were running plays. The other 2 passes, one resulted in an interception, which did turn out, as you see at the bottom, as 7 points off of a turnover for Syracuse, giving them the 21-17 lead.
No penalties for Oklahoma. They had 10 against Northwestern in their first game of the year. Only 1 turnover. That's encouraging, I think, for John Blake's team. And time of possession, they had more of it. You might ask yourself, has Oklahoma gone without throwing a pass in a game? Well, of course they have. In the wishbone days, the last time was '89 against Arizona. So we'll see what will happen in the second half as Nate Trout will kick it off to Jarrell Jackson right at the goal line, fumbles it momentarily. And he is dropped at the 15-yard line. And a penalty marker is down as on the coverage, number 15 down there for Syracuse, Jim Turner.
Well, see where this one goes. If it's against Oklahoma, going to put them in a big hole.
And it is against Oklahoma.
Not the way you want to start out the second half. And I'm still surprised, Roger, in the first half when they didn't use a timeout on 3rd and long for Syracuse. They had 2 available. They could have burned them, forced a punt. They already have 1 block punt. Travian Smith with the block punt that helped go to a touchdown for Oklahoma. But I'm very surprised at that move to not take a chance and do it.
I'm sure John Blake told them.
On the receiving team, since the hold was in front of the run, it will be half the distance from the end of the run. First down, Oklahoma.
I'm sure Blake told his guys, great job, no penalties in the first half. In the first play of the second half, they get a penalty. Oh. All right, Justin Fuente, who started the game, is back in at quarterback for Oklahoma.
Well, John Blake had said he had hoped somebody would step up and be the quarterback. He hoped that would take care of itself just by their play, but it hasn't. So, again, the situation will dictate what quarterback's going to be in there.
A lot of the fans still fighting back into the stadium. Owen Field as the handoff goes right up the middle. And gain of about 3 by Parker. Let's check in with Myron Patton. Myron?
Guys, the second half is all based on the heat. I talked to both coaches. From the Oklahoma standpoint, they think it will be a factor late in the 4th quarter. If they can be close, and maybe Syracuse will wear down. I talked to Paul Pasqualoni, their head coach, and he mentions also the fact the first half they were awfully tired. You saw them on the bench trying to get some relief from the heat. So, guys, the heat that will tell the story of the second half.
All right, Myron. Of course, 2 players already affected. McNabb threw up earlier in the game, and then Danish had some severe leg cramps as the ball carried up to about the 14-yard line. Michael Rose, the ball carrier. Antoine Pons, the linebacker, making the tackle. You know, it's interesting. Last year, Oklahoma attempted more passes than any season in school history, 308. They only completed about 44%. If you think back to their national championship year in 1975, they completed only 22 passes in 12 games. So maybe everything that goes around comes around, and we're going back to real OU football on a 3rd and 4. They try to run it again, and not enough for the first down as Parker doesn't find any room. Brian Coleman was there to make the stop, and it'll be interesting to see the adjustments here in the second half.
Another interesting thing about those pass attempts, 308, the last 3 national title teams, 85, 1974, 1975, in all those years combined, there were only 268 passing attempts. So in 3 years, there were less passing attempts than just last year's Oklahoma team.
There's Brian Shackelford, who is a leading home run and RBI hitter on the Oklahoma team. Also does some pitching for the Sooners right on the goal line. The left-footed punter will send it downfield, and a short kick that's going to bounce to midfield and beyond. And a nice roll for Shackelford down to the 44-yard line. So a little bit better punting today. As we'll be back to Norman in a moment. The numbers on Donovan McNabb, the junior from Dolton, Illinois, outside of Chicago in the first half. You know, in '95 as a redshirt freshman, he was the Big East Rookie of the Year. And last year, he was shared Player of the Year honors with Jim Druckenmiller, who's going to get a little start tomorrow for the 49ers.
And now he shares time with Peyton Manning over at Tennessee as far as the top quarterbacks in the country.
1st and 10, 44-yard line for the Orangemen. As McIntosh, the ball carrier, little or nothing. As Dale Allen, the weak side linebacker, number 84, was there to make the stop.
They've been doing a nice job against the run. McIntosh hasn't been a factor. Conrad hasn't been a factor, someone they'd love to have in the game. Conrad's only been a factor when they've swung passes to him out wide or run him out wide. But the middle of the field, the defensive field, belongs to Oklahoma right now. Syracuse is, if they're going to win this game, they're going to probably do it through the air.
Well, their first game against Northwestern, 5 Sooner players made their first start, all on defense. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. That's Williams, the tight end, in motion. McNabb now dumped from behind by Martin Chase. Still pushing it. And he got the official, too. And a penalty flag down.
That penalty came from one of the back judges.
Penalty markers are down.
Again, good push up the middle by Oklahoma. That was going to be supposed to be a quick slant pass, but the OU corners were up tight on the receivers and took it away. Pee Wee Woods playing it tight on Spotwood. We'll get a look.
Offsetting penalties. Let's see Cuz here.
See, they wanted the quick slant there. Pee Wee does a nice job of grabbing him by the collar. Hey, oh, well, saying hello to each other.
Maybe missed the hold, but saw the the blows, huh?
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense. We have a dead ball, personal foul on the offense, offsetting, play stand.
You know, you don't punch in the helmet. If you're going to try and get away with one, yeah, that is technically what they call a draw. A couple of head slaps. You're going to break a hand, you hit in the helmet. You got to, not that I advocate it now, Roger. Not that I advocate it. But
after the play, therefore, the penalty will stand and the play will be third down, excuse me.
But if you're going to try and get away with it, then you got to try and change the area you're going to make contact, if I said that correctly.
So the play will stand. So,
yes.
So Chase with his 2nd sack today.
Yeah, because it's a dead ball, so the play is going to stand. If it was during the play, they would do the down over.
3rd down and 14. Now this Sooner crowd is getting into it. McNabb moves up in the pocket, eludes a tackler across midfield, and he's close to the first down at the 46-yard line. Travian Smith finally made the tackle. Let's see where they put the spot on it.
You know, you had one side judge coming at the 46-yard line, the other side judge coming up at the 45-yard line. It's going with the side judge at the 45, and that gives him the first down.
So McNabb showing you that ability to run with the football, gets the first down.
14 yards on the play to the Oklahoma.
You know, when they get pressure, common sense, when they get pressure, it's tough. But here, you give them the middle of the field to step up into. And McNabb, completion percentage just at around 50%. Not a great day for him, so he may look to be more dangerous running than throwing the ball.
Kevin Johnson splits to the near side as Conrad has not yet appeared in the second half. 1st and 10, 45-yard line. McIntosh trying to get outside, and he does. McIntosh to the 30-yard line before Pee Wee Woods knocks him out of bounds.
The give to number 28.
Anson Lewis, 41, the backup fullback behind Conrad, got the block to spring him.
And this is where they've been successful running the ball. They haven't done it much, but when they've gone outside, they've been able to get the corner. Oklahoma doing a great job of bobbling up the middle. That time McIntosh was supposed to go up the middle, does a nice job of bouncing to the outside, and there was no one there to contain.
Ooh, look at this. Georgia Tech leading Notre Dame in the 4th quarter, 13-10, and Bob Davies' debut.
Well, that'll kill the
honeymoon will definitely be over, won't it?
Very quickly.
1st and 10, 31-yard line. After the big 3rd down play by McNabb, the Orangemen on the roll here to start the second half. Play action, looking downfield to go deep. Got a man wide open, but McNabb got some pressure by Cornelius Burton, number 87. Looked like he might have got a piece of his arm as the ball was well overthrown.
Well, when Syracuse has been successful throwing the ball or with McNabb running up the middle, it's because they haven't been getting a push by those tackles. We've seen Chase and Greg getting a lot of pressure up the middle. Now the pressure comes more from the outside. You see the middle, McNabb has a place to step up. He eludes and steps up in the pocket, but then the end comes around, Cornelius Burton does, to get the pressure. When Greg and Chase can get that push up the middle, they don't necessarily have to get the sack, just the push, so McNabb has nowhere to move in the middle of the field.
On 2nd and 10, 3 wide receivers for Syracuse. Spotwood at the bottom of the screen. Going nowhere. Donovan McNabb is chased down once again by Martin Chase.
And that has been a matchup. Martin Chase, his 3rd sack. Now he's going against the left guard for Syracuse, Scott Kiernan, considered to be their best lineman. This was a stunt. This was a twist with the D tackles. You saw Kelly Gregg coming first. Martin Chase came around him, and that opened up the middle of the field. A good stunt inside. You see Gregg, you see Chase coming around. That's called a tackle stunt. I believe they call it a tack, which means one of the tackles goes first, comes around, came in wide open.
3rd down and 20. 3 wide receivers. Spotwood at the top of your screen with a lone setback. McNabb, the blitz from outside. They try to throw the screen, and McNabb was nailed by Travian Smith that time.
Well, what they do in this defense, they go to 3 linemen. They pull out both the defensive tackles. They bring in another end and play him at the nose tackle and bring in another linebacker. So it's a 3-4. You see 3 linemen that are all defensive ends and 4 linebackers. You see Travian Smith. You don't know where the guy's going to line up on the field and do his damage.
Travian Smith led the team last year in sacks and tackles at his defensive end position. Now he's a linebacker as Ferris, the youngster, just a true freshman, at his 45 to punt it. Jarrell Jackson back at the 10-yard line with the wind to his back. Ferris has had 1 blocked, and that's a low line drive kick that'll go into the end zone. So good defensive stand by Oklahoma. 21-17, Syracuse leads it. Roger Twyble, Mike Golick, and Myron Patton back with you here in Norman. Syracuse 21-17. Terrific job by the OU's defense as Justin Fuente will bring him up to the line, 1st and 10. And he has got his tight end wide open across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Good job there by Jason Freeman. I'll tell you what, Fuente could have run at that time too.
Yeah, he did, but I'm glad they're getting their tight ends involved. It's something Oklahoma needs to do. They wanted to run the ball a lot, but they may have to end up throwing this game, so if they can get their tight ends involved right now, it can even open up their running more.
That's their first completion of the day.
It had to happen sooner or later.
Had to happen. 1st and 10, 32-yard line. Parker tripped up at midfield, and once again, a great saving tackle by Rod Gatson. McClure, the center, with a key block that time.
He is something to watch. Take a look at it again. Coming right at you. Take a look at this hole. He has, again, they're spreading out that defense. All the linemen are doing, they're not really blowing anybody off the ball, Roger. What they're doing is position blocking, and that's opening up the holes for Parker. They're not driving Syracuse defense off the ball. They're just hooking them and giving nice big holes to Parker.
17 carries, 153 yards for Damon Parker, who's in motion right now as the handoff goes up the middle. Down to the 40 and close to a first down is Michael Rose, as Donovan Darius was there to make the stop. And it's not good when your safeties are making all the tackles.
No, it's not. And Oklahoma can be in a position now to mix it up. But John Blake, you know, I don't know how much confidence he has in his quarterbacks. This would be a great time to start doing play-action passes. Syracuse has perfectly been set up as a defense for it. But I don't know if they'll start to do it. I think Oklahoma may just stay vanilla, keep it on the ground.
And they'll measure it. 9:31 left to go, 3rd quarter. Syracuse with a 4-point lead. And once again, they've had a lot of close calls.
A lot better situation than they were last week when the 3rd and longs, when you definitely had to pass the ball. Now they have a few more options. I'll tell you what, 2nd down and 1 inch to go. Well, you have a plethora of plays that you can use.
Dick Winder, longtime assistant at Texas Tech under Spike Dykes, and his 2nd year here at Oklahoma. As it'll be 2nd and just inches to go inside the 40. 20, the sophomore out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Quickly up to the line, usually on that first count, the bootleg and overthrow had 2 men wide open, as a matter of fact. Chris Blocker down the sideline. And want to remind you, coming up tonight, America's biggest road show rolls on to Los Angeles at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It'll be Florida State and the Trojans of USC. John Robinson taking on that man, Bobby Bowden. College football tonight.
California's having it rough. We've already seen UCLA's getting hammered by Tennessee, and now USC's got to step it up against FSU.
Now on 3rd and inches, Fasson is going to be dragged down. That was an interesting call there. I mean, they just had inches to go, and rather than busting it up the middle, they tried to go outside, and Pons made the tackle. On the previous play, it was a good call. It was just a bad pass. And let's see what Dick Winder's going to do here now on 4th down and 4. And they're going to punt it. Well, that's too bad. I mean,
you know, they've been so successful running the ball right up the middle, and they try and go wide. Syracuse stack their linebackers a little closer to the line, and that's what may have made Dick Winder want to go a little wide on that play. But you know what? Make them stop you. They haven't stopped him up the middle yet. Make them do it.
They've got to hurry here with just 3 on the play clock. Shackelford, they don't. Well, the clock's at 0. Well, this is interesting.
I think they're waiting for the penalty. I think they actually want it backed up 5 yards.
It's been 10 seconds since the play clock was on 0. Okay, now they've got it reset.
I've got a dead ball. We have a timeout assessed to the kicking team for failure to have a mouthpiece, number 20.
All right, that's one of the rules this year, and this happened to Oklahoma in the game against Northwestern on a field goal attempt. The holder didn't have a mouthpiece in, so they assess you a timeout. If you're out of timeouts, it's a 5-yard penalty. Got to get that mouthpiece, Golick.
It's amazing, and it doesn't stop there. A mouthpiece has to be a colored mouthpiece. It can't even be a clear one. Then, you know, it may look like you don't have one in, so the mouthpiece has to have some color.
If you prefer not to wear a colored mouthpiece, you can have one of those in your helmet and have a clear one in your mouth. I've seen a lot of players that have had that look, just so they know they've got a mouthpiece.
Well, I tell you, Paul Pasqualoni is living about something.
Well, I don't understand the call because the play clock was on 0. It had run out. I mean, before they did anything. Well, tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern, 3 Pacific, the World Gymnastics Championships from Lausanne, Switzerland, the men's and women's team competition, as well as the men's all-around. Then at 7, 6 Central, don't miss the women's all-around competition. That's coming up tomorrow on ABC, and one of the commentators there, Bart Connor, from right here in Norman, Oklahoma, has his gymnastics school. We saw it on the way in from the airport the other day, so be sure to catch gymnastics here on ABC Sports.
That's some great stuff to watch, seeing them flip around. You know what? I'm a little surprised. I thought Oklahoma would go for it here. You know, if they punt it in the end zone, it's only a difference of 22 yards it's going to make if it comes out to the 20-yard line, if it's a touchback. And Oklahoma's defense, you know, they started the last drive. Syracuse was almost at midfield, and they stopped them. I mean, put the onus on the defense. They're playing well, and maybe go for this. But, you know, they're going to punt and try and pin them in.
See some more scores coming across. Kansas holds on for a win over TCU.
Resuming play from the 42-yard line.
Big 12 whack matchup. Now, Shackelford back inside the 45. Well, this play clock's now down to about 5. You see there.
I think they still want to back it up 5.
Well, they're kicking into the wind. I mean, now they've got a lot of confidence in Shackelford. They didn't have much in him last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I understand the theory.
Dead ball, delay a game on the kicking team, 5 yards, repeat 4th down.
I mean, I understand the theory of giving him a little more room, but he's been inconsistent as a punter, and you're not really sure where it's going to go.
He's a Dow Joneser is what you're trying to say.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if you've been a Dow Joneser lately, you've been in good shape.
Now 4th and 8. Shackelford, the baseball player turned punter, back inside the 40-yard line. Well, there you go, folks. Out of bounds at about the 20. Well, all that work for nothing.
Wow.
You know, 8:15 to go. 3rd quarter from Norman. All right, John, thank you very much. We've got a good one going on here in Norman. 21-17, Syracuse with the lead. Donovan McNabb, who's I think recovered rather nicely after being ill in the first half. Once again, McIntosh, 28, the deep back, and Aaron Lewis, 41. Redshirt freshman from Bayview, Texas, who's come back near his old stomping grounds. As McIntosh tries the left side and gets a couple. Let's check in with Myron Patton. Myron?
Guys, I'm sure you noticed that Rob Conrad, big fullback of Syracuse, not in there. I'm getting reports that he took a lick in the first half in the ribs. He's still in the locker room. They don't look for him to come back the second half.
Okay, Myron, thank you. And so the redshirt freshman, Aaron Lewis, 6'3", 249, a former tight end who's been moved into the fullback spot.
Tough to breathe on a hot day, and when you got some bad ribs, makes it even tougher for Conrad.
2nd down and 8 from the 23. Daniel in motion to the near side. McNabb on the option, makes the pitch, and with running room to the outside, McIntosh all the way up to the 40-yard line before Terry White, the junior from Houston, knocks him out of bounds.
Taken out of bounds by number 13.
And we haven't seen that option much. You said that early, and I totally agree that I don't think they wanted McNabb to run a lot and do this option. Works great here. They have the inside cover. Too many people on the quarterback. Travian Smith hung a little too long with McNabb and didn't get out there on McIntosh, and he was able to turn the corner. Only one man supposed to be on that quarterback. Kelly Gregg, the defensive tackle, was out there. Travian kind of tried to play that gray area in between the quarterback and the pitchman.
McIntosh just 5'8", 179 pounds, but 7 carries, 39 yards on 1st and 10, 41-yard line. He'll try to get up the middle, and McIntosh across the 45, 46. You know, there was a guy that ran the ball a lot for Syracuse that wasn't very tall, but he ran it effectively for a long time. Joe Morris.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, another one of those scat backs that really was tough to bring down.
Joe Morris, Larry Zonka, Floyd Little, Ernie Davis, Jim Brown. Both of these schools have great running back traditions. Joe Washington, Stanley Wilson, Greg Pruitt here at Oklahoma, besides Billy Sims. Yeah. There's the Sooner vision. Biggest scoreboard in college football. 2nd and 4, 47-yard line. McIntosh again. He's got the first down across midfield to the 47-yard line, where Mike Woods, who plays on the other side of
McIntosh, the ball carrier.
McNabb's cousin, Pee Wee Woods, makes a stop.
Nice block by number 59, Mark Banowitz. You just got to give that credit to those grunt workers when you can. You see, when Syracuse has had success is when they bounce it to the outside. A couple of successful runs up the middle, mostly to the outside. Banowitz got a good block on the defensive end, enabled McIntosh to get outside.
Nice little drive here for Syracuse. Using some clock, 1st and 10. Spotted at the 47-yard line. Now McNabb will roll out. Comes back, and the ball is partially deflected. It looked like 43, Corey L. Ivy, and we say Corey L. Ivy because there's a Corey T. Ivy also on the team. No relation, as McIntosh is down there. Shaq Brown was applying the pressure on McNabb that time.
The difference with Syracuse offense and Oklahoma offense, Syracuse was successful running the ball, so they feel they can do play action off of that and run some counter plays off of that, where Oklahoma just really tries to run the ball because not as much confidence in that quarterback. Obviously, with Donovan McNabb, you can do an array of things.
So McIntosh is down, and we'd like to remind you that tomorrow at 9/8 Central, there's never been anything like it on television before. Based on the bestseller, ABC News presents Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. Find out things that you can do that save your relationships. If I just stopped snoring, that'd be a big step in my,
Where does the list start?
Who's the home team there? Is that Mars or Venus? Well, while they attend to McIntosh, we detailed for you earlier in the show that Donovan McNabb and Pee Wee Woods are cousins. We heard from Pee Wee that he thought that maybe Donovan stared down his receivers a little bit. Let's hear what Donovan has to say about his cousin.
You try not to find any weaknesses on the player. You just try to go at the player as much as possible. You know, he's a great guy. He's strong, he's fast, and he makes plays. I would probably say his weakness over myself is probably his height. So, so if it's between me and him in the goal line, And, you know, he's trying to get lower. I think I'll probably jump over.
Pee-wee's 5'8", 180. Boy, I'll tell you what, Donovan, he wanted to know what Pee-wee had to say.
That's the
yesterday,
amazing thing,
it was just
yeah, what you didn't see on the camera, Roger, when you told him, was Pee-wee said he thought one of what Donovan's weaknesses was. Donovan was like, what was it, man? You got to tell me. You know he made some calls.
Did you ever play against, I mean, all your brothers played in Notre Dame, but in the pros, did you play against your brother?
Oh, I played against, we were both defense, so we never had to hit each other.
Perfect.
Never got a chance to cheap shot.
2nd and 10, 47-yard line. As McNabb will roll it near side. Now looking downfield. He's got a receiver open, and the catch made inside the 15. Kevin Johnson. Terry White was there on the coverage.
Well, he dumped it over Brandon Daniels' head, number 8, but that is where McNabb is so dangerous. Again, out of the pocket with time. Look at the roll he's able to set up. Nobody really in his face. And then look at the touch. The straight. He's kind of throwing back against his body there, but he gets touch on the ball. He goes over the top of Daniels.
That's a gift to be able to roll to your left as a right-hander and throw it like McNabb is able to throw it. I mean, that is one strong-armed young man. 1st and 10, ball at the 10-yard line. Just outside of the 10. Let's call it 1st and goal. Handoff up the middle. That's D. Brown who's in there right now, number 6, who is a redshirt freshman who's seen a little bit of time today. Scored a touchdown earlier in the game. Dale Allen was there to make the tackle.
Syracuse has been doing it with big plays, Roger. They haven't really, they had one long drive. Other than that, it's been a 50-yard pass, and when they've got backed up, they come up with that big play to get them out of trouble. And, of course, the punt return for the touchdown early in the game to put them up early. But haven't really sustained much outside of 1 or 2 drives. Oklahoma has what happened last week of 1 or 2 plays that have really gone against them.
Oklahoma's defense has been on the field most of this 3rd quarter. On 2nd and goal from the 8. Looking for Lewis, wide open, touchdown! Aaron Lewis with the touchdown catch. Nobody was near him.
Well, when you're that wide open, there's no doubt it was a blown coverage. Travian Smith was running for him. Now, it's not sure that it was his man. Travian Smith was running for him without his helmet also. Just the back running quickly out of the back. Remember, he was a tight end last year. Got a picture of Travian Smith as the ball was going by him. He had no helmet on. You saw the ball going over his head to a wide open Aaron Lewis.
Well, Trout, who never leaves home without his troll, his good luck charm. He said kickers are a little different. On to attempt the point after.
Oh, they're a lot different.
And he knocks it through. You better believe they are 28-17.
So it's going to come at you again, just dumping it over the top. You see Travian lost his helmet, but he is wide open. That's an easy 7 points.
So Lewis getting some action because Rob Conrad is injured. And Syracuse now with a 28-17 lead and 5:17 to go 3rd quarter. And that streak of 13 consecutive games with 30 or more points scored by Syracuse looks to be in pretty good shape right now.
Boy, it sure does. And they've averaged, what, 35 points out of those 13 games. It's going to be tough for Oklahoma now. If they have to start relying on the pass, they're at a definite disadvantage.
There's the head coach of Syracuse, Paul Pasqualoni. And let's take a look at this week's The Home Depot Chalk Talk. Pasqualoni led Syracuse to a 10-2 record his first year as head coach, and only 2 rookie coaches have had more wins. Bill Battle in 1970 and John Robinson in 1976 with 11 victories.
What a great way to endear yourselves to the alumni.
Oh, absolutely.
Early doing it in your first year. Probably buys you a few more down the road.
Well, they've won 7 consecutive bowl games that they've been to. Of course, last year, back-to-back 9-3 seasons, disappointing loss to Miami,
right?
38-31. That's been sort of the thorn in their side. 0-6 against the Hurricanes.
And again, Miami and Syracuse, the 2 top teams in the Big East, keep after for that top spot again.
Trout with the kickoff to Jackson at the 5. And Jackson across the 25 to the 26-yard line. McNabb 10 of 18, 161 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day as Eric Moore getting ready to check in for Oklahoma. And Notre Dame, I know you were pointing at that, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Look at that.
Notre Dame won. I'm glad. That means my alumni dues won't go up.
Actually, you got invited to the game there. All former players got invited.
All the former players got sent a letter and a ticket, and we're all invited to the opening of the new stadium.
First and 10, 26-yard line as the Sooners and their man DeMond Parker across the 30 to 31. You know, when you went to Notre Dame, Jerry Faust was just starting as head coach. And, it wasn't a turnaround situation, but he was a high school coach coming to a big institution. In a way, there's maybe a bit of a parallel here because John Blake had never been a head coach and coming into Oklahoma with the great tradition they have. Do you see any similarities at all?
So there are similarities there, but I think one of the big differences is the coaching staff John Blake has surrounded himself with, and Jerry Faust brought a lot of his high school coaches with him from Cincinnati Moeller.
On 2nd and 6, 3 men over there taking on Parker as Hans and Poles both there, and 50, 55, 56, 74, 75, 85. The most national championships, and we'll clarify this,
yes,
since 1950.
Because the most all-time goes to?
Answer is Notre Dame.
But I think that is a difference, is John Blake really surrounded himself with a lot of experienced college coaches.
Bill Young had been at Ohio State as defensive coordinator. Of course, Dick Linder at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
3rd down and 2 from the 34-yard line, and the pitch back and turning the near side. Parker, it's a foot race, and he can't quite get to the corner as he's pulled out at midfield. Jason Poles was the last man there, and Poles did a really nice job of using the sideline as another defender.
Well, he did, and he was smart because he's obviously seen, you know, that DeMond Parker doesn't really want to go out of bounds. As we see the great blocking, Jason Freeman, the tight end, just doing enough to Marlon Greenwood to keep, but what, you know Parker's going to cut back. Poles does a nice job, you're right, of forcing him back to the sidelines, not letting him cut back inside.
Parker, 20 carries, 179 yards on 1st and 10 from the 49, and I'll tell you, the right side has been a good side for DeMond Parker. That's a pickup of about 9 as Donovan Darius made the stop.
You know, when they have a lot of time left in this game, we're still in the 3rd quarter, about 4 minutes to go, they can still use that running game because it does chew up the clock. They're really not forced into a pass play just yet.
Sammy Williams, 75. Greg Moyer, 54. And Moyer, they list him at 253. He's about 235,
right,
the right guard. And then Bruce McClure, who had more starts than anybody else on the Oklahoma team a year ago, the center.
And he can play any position on the line. He's considered one of the best centers in the Big 12.
On 2nd and 2, 41-yard line. Sooners have got their offense cranked up as Moore's going to roll out, throw the pass. Reception made by Steven Alexander, their talented tight end, inside the 35 at the 34-yard line as Bill Nash makes the stop, and another 1st down for OU.
You know, we talked about getting the tight ends involved. The tight ends combined, the 3 of them had 6 receptions last week. Alexander just 2. They wanted to get him more involved. Now, today the running game is working, so they haven't needed him as much. But if they keep trailing, they have to get it going.
Alexander, Mike, was their leading receiver in 95 and then injured his shoulder last year and only played in 7 games. 1st and 10, 34-yard line. And Parker, look at that hole on the left side. Inside the 30 to the 29. And this offensive line, Will Macias is the left guard, Scott Kempenich, the left tackle, and they are opening things up. And there's the cool zone and trying to cool off those Syracuse players.
Yeah, they're going to be piled in front of it as it keeps getting more humid. The more you play the sweat into the turf, that humidity is going to come up from the turf. You see the Oklahoma guys on the side, they're standing, they're not really affected by it so far.
2nd down and 5. 3 wide receivers on this set with Alexander, the tight end, and now a flag goes down. Another flag goes down.
Flags are down.
Dead ball, false start, prior to the snap by the offense, 5 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Quickest false start in football history. I mean, they didn't even get up to the line.
Got to the line. You know, going back to Steven Alexander and him being injured last year, even though that a big negative for Oklahoma, what it did is it gave Jason Freeman and Matt Anderson, gave them some reps. So now they have 3 quality tight ends, all that have now played a lot, been in the system. You never want to lose your top tight end, but that is one of the good points that came out of it.
That makes it 2nd down and 10. That's Alexander in motion to the far side. And the pitch back to Parker. He's got the block. Parker to the 20-yard line. DeMond Parker pulled out of bounds by Jason Poles. Parker closing in on 200 yards rushing today.
And Michael Rose, I tell you, when Parker gets in the locker room after this game, win or lose, he needs to go over and shake Michael Rose's hand because he is doing a great job on the lead blocking. This option, it's a quick option. It's got to get out there fast. And you don't see it. There you go. See Rose pushing Moreline Greenwood to the outside. Moreline Greenwood has been cut down a few times on the outside.
Parker, 23 carries, 206 yards today. The 28th time an OU back has rushed for 200 or more yards in a game. He did it last year as a freshman with 244 against San Diego State. That's Fazan, and Fazan is down to the 10-yard line and close to another first down.
And they're just chewing it up on both sides of the field. And one of the guys we just talked about that got some reps is Matt Anderson, number 90. And he had a great downfield block again to spring Fazan. But really got to take your hats off to this offensive line. On the right of your screen, see breaks to the outside. You can see number 90 right there. Freeman pushing out Darius. Fazan cuts in between it.
Hey, this is old-time football right now.
Hey, this is the best kind of football. Yeah. And John Blake had said, if we're going to win this game, it's going to be smash-mouth football. We got to line up. We got to punch him in the face and run the ball on him.
Yeah, they got the close one. First down. Let's check in with Myron.
Guys, you know, I'm down here right on the Syracuse bench, and I'm watching the defense for Syracuse. They look awfully tired. Cole's got up awfully slow off that last. Tired of chasing down DeMond Parker, and then Fazan with the big back pounding at him. They look awfully tired on the defensive side of the line.
All right, Myron, no question about it. They've been going backwards on this drive. 2:34 left to go, third quarter, 1st and 10. Handoff, Fazan breaks it to the outside, nearly gets into the end zone. Keith Bullock saved a touchdown there as the guy they call Gumbo. Not Gumby, but Gumbo.
No, he is no
He might have been Gumby at one time, but he is Gumbo now.
Again, the offensive line doing a great job of stretching that time, the Syracuse defense. Again, they're not really blowing them off the ball. They're hooking them, or they're just staying on them. They're not letting the Syracuse defenders get off their blocks, and it's opening up huge holes for these running backs.
2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Fazan, the lone setback. That's Alexander in motion. Moore fumbled it, and he got it back. You know, sometimes you start thinking, Mike, what can go wrong?
You know, without a doubt, these players, you know, they have to be kind of feeling good but reserved. Like, well, you know, we're almost there, but, boy, we've been here before, and we found a way to blow it. Boy, they almost did it there.
Well, the quarterback gets his own fumble. Last game against Northwestern 2 weeks ago, 5 fumbles. They only lost 1.
But still, it cost you a play.
You got to figure this is 4-down territory here, trailing 28-17. 3rd and goal from the 3. Parker's the running back. Moore on the option. Can he get to the corner? Touchdown, Oklahoma. Jason Freeman with the block to get him in for 6.
Freeman, a great block on that. The safety needed to come up and force on the quarterback because the outside backer was going for the pitch man. But Freeman just drove him into the end zone and made an easy run for Eric Moore. Hopefully you'll see 86 Freeman with the block. Right here you see 86 pushes the defender into the end zone, knocks down 2 actually, for Moore to waltz in.
And Oklahoma's going to go for 2. They were successful earlier. 28-23 as the Sooners go for 2. And Moore not able to do it. Syracuse read it well that time. Delane Morgan, 56, was the man that stuffed it. So it's a 5-point game with 1:01 to go, third quarter.
Well, Moreland was there. Number 25, Will Allen, defensive back, was out on the pitch man, so they had everybody covered up. And I'm sure that's exactly what Eric Moore saw. 25, Will Allen, is up on the pitch man. Oh, this is the touchdown. I'm sorry. Freeman again with the big block, taking out 2 for Eric Moore to go in, but the missed field goal, so they will need at least 2 field goals or a touchdown to get back in the lead.
How about these 2 drives here in this third quarter?
I'll tell you, and they've got plenty of time, so they can just keep doing it. And the biggest blow right now for Syracuse is if Oklahoma's defense can go out there and get a 3-and-out right now, make Syracuse defense go back on the field, because there's no doubt these guys are over drinking water and getting some oxygen because they have to be tired.
That's the Syracuse defense over there, and that's Aaron Lewis, man who caught the touchdown pass earlier in this quarter. Lewis, Texas, one of a number of players from around the country. I think 15 different states represented on that Syracuse roster. A couple players from Canada.
More than Oklahoma. Usually Oklahoma or Texas.
Pretty close to home here.
Yeah.
A couple of Louisiana kids. That's just right across the way. Alexander to kick it off. Oklahoma will have the wind to their back in the final quarter. This is a good kick right here, as Kevin Johnson takes it a couple steps into the end zone, trying to get to the outside and doing a good job following his blocking across the 25 up to the 27. Travian Smith, number 36, one of the men there to bring him down to NYPD Blue.
That's a great lineup.
Oh, isn't it good? It's coming to ABC on Tuesdays. Less than a minute to go, third quarter from Owen Field, Memorial Stadium here in Norman, Oklahoma, 28-23. Syracuse leads the Sooners as McIntosh gets the call and he goes nowhere. Corey L. Ivy, 43, one of the first men there, and also Cornelius Burton.
You know, even though the quarter's going around here, we've got 15 to go. This is a real important drive right now to get the Syracuse defense some rest. This offense for Syracuse has got to put some kind of drive together. And they've only done it once or twice a day. They haven't really been successful doing it. It's come more on big plays than anything else.
Second down and 9. That's Turner in motion to the near side. McNabb on the straight drop, throwing downfield, nearly intercepted. Corey L. Ivy was there as the pass intended for Kasim Cincino, and we've completed 3 quarters of play. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. This was at the end of the third quarter. The Oklahoma team came out in mass on the field, rallied around one another, and their young head coach, John Blake, with his team now trailing by 5, 28-23, a 3rd and 9 as we start the fourth quarter. The Orangemen 5 of 9 on 3rd down so far today. Donovan McNabb chased out of the pocket, still on his feet. He's squashed at the 20. 96 Shaq Brown, one of the first there, along with Travian Smith.
Well, pick whoever you want on that. About 5 or 6 ended up over there. Donovan McNabb almost pulled it off again, eluding the first couple of tacklers, and you thought maybe another big play on the way, but Oklahoma had too many players to fill the gaps. This is a planned rollout. They've been doing it. He does a great job, even though he's a right-hander rolling to his left. But there's Smith. He eludes him. You still think he's going to get that big play. Then
Ferris is shanked one off the side of his foot. He gets a fortunate roll as it turns over down to the 40-yard line. So after the 4th sack of Donovan McNabb today, Ferris gets away with a 41-yard punt. And that thing looked like it was going to go out of bounds at about the 40-yard line on the Syracuse side of the field.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt momentum is on Oklahoma's side. They have the wind at their back, even though it's a running game, and that doesn't affect it much.
Let me throw a cliche at you. Gut check time.
Absolutely. For both teams, really for Syracuse. I mean, here's a team that's tired, a team that's been doubled over. The defense is right back out on the field after 3 and out. That is the epitome of the word gut check right now.
Folks, they've got to go the length of the shadows. 1st and 10, 39-yard line for Oklahoma. Parker's got a seam. Parker driven out of bounds at the 43-yard line by Rod Gadsden. This is old-time Oklahoma football.
And the amazing thing is you say, well, wait a minute now. The offense is running as many plays as defense. Why aren't they tired? Because of this. Because of successful plays. You get that adrenaline pump going. There's no way you get tired when there's a successful play. But if you're on defense and you're on your heels, Well, I tell you what, it gets harder and harder. The air out of the stadium is getting sucked out by everybody.
Parker's coming off the field right now. He's dedicated his football career. He has a 1-year-old daughter, Dominique.
Right.
Her name is tattooed in his arm. So that's what his life is all about, being successful for her. And he has been successful so far today as Hassan, the big load, spins, and he gets to the 36-yard line. Darius makes the tackle, and you give him the look of Parker, the speed and the quickness, and then you bring on Hassan, the 260-pounder.
Well, that's the thing. Parker's going to run around you, make moves on you, and spin. If Hassan is going to run over you, so there's no doubt it makes you change your tackling style. Look at those stats today. 9.3 yards every rush today.
He's trying to write himself into the Oklahoma record books. Second down and 3 after the 7-yard pickup by Hassan. Matt Anderson in motion to the top of your screen, and Parker slips right there. Didn't have much room. Loss of a couple as Moreland Greenwood was there to meet him.
Well, that time Syracuse did a good job of pursuing what they're doing, and they should have been doing this for a while, Rogers, getting 7, 8 guys up on the field and say, hey, throw it. We dare you to throw it because we're not going to let you run anymore. They need to fill gaps. They need to move their linebackers up closer to the line, get in the gaps, and shoot some gaps. And right now, they're not doing it.
And you become curious as to why maybe the coaching staff hasn't made that adjustment. On 3rd and 5 from the 38-yard line, Jason Freeman in motion, and Moore's going to drop back and look to throw it. Now he's going to run it. Eric Moore, penalty marker down as Moore has the first down, but a penalty flag down. Antoine Pons made the stop, and that's where this young man is very dangerous when he drops back in the pocket and keeps his focus on the middle of the field, and there's usually an opening he can take.
Boy, sometimes you wonder if he's in the pocket, if he's even thinking about throwing the ball, or just waiting for the rush to go by him and then run the ball.
It's going to be
coming back.
Holding on Oklahoma. Well,
and you know, Syracuse, they've been giving it up on 3rd down in their 2 games. 18 for 34 they've given up.
Now the officials are, I heard one of the officials say that's on the defense.
Oh, now they're changing. Oh, okay. That makes a little difference.
That's like you go in for that knee operation. They thought it was on your right.
Yeah. On the defense. 10 yards down to the end of the run. First down.
Well, the heat affects the officials too.
Absolutely. We'll give them a break on that. Today, Oklahoma is 8 for 14 in 3rd down conversions. That's a great percentage.
And
again, more in the pocket, but you got to wonder how much, unless somebody is wide open, I got to believe Eric Moore is looking to run. There you see an offensive lineman, maybe got away with it. They say if you're not trying, if you're not cheating, you ain't trying.
So 9 of 15 now on 3rd down situations, and that's been a real thorn in the side for the Syracuse defense. Wisconsin converted 7 of 17, North Carolina State 11 of 17. And as a matter of fact, the quarterback Barnett for North Carolina State threw 3 touchdown passes on 3rd down.
To be successful, defensive coordinators want 3rd down conversions against them in the 30% range. Right now, Syracuse over 50%.
And last year, that's where they were. They allowed about 31% on 3rd down. 1st and 10, 21-yard line. Nothing going up the middle right there. Stacked up as Pons makes the tackle. Let's go to New York and John Saunders. John?
Roger, time for the Burger King play of the day between Marshall and Army. Chad Pennington just dumps this one to Randy Moss. He does the rest of the work. You saw the stiff arm. Watch a leap right there. 90 yards for the touchdown. 5 receptions, 186 yards, 234 all-purpose yards. And Randy Moss is busting his way into that Heisman race. 35-25, Marshall with the win.
Moss was a young man, started his career at Florida State, had some problems, but he is the real deal as Moore swings it out. Parker eludes one tackle, still on his feet. Look at him go. Stutter step. Parker down to the 1-yard line. Big time moves by Damon Parker.
You want to talk about someone who's jumping into the Heisman scene? How about right here in Oklahoma? Damon Parker. I don't think there's any doubt after this game that he is going to be nationally recognized as one of the top backs. Look at the moves. Just a little swing passes, just like a sweep. That's all it is. Get him the ball in open space. There's one move, and you think he's going down here. He's just blowing by. He loves that cutback, Roger. He loves it. He won't just run out of bounds and be satisfied. He'll cut back for those extra yards.
They spotted at the 2-yard line. 28-23, Syracuse with the lead. First and goal from the 2. Fasson barrels down to the 1-yard line. And a penalty marker down. Penalty marker on the near side of the field, entirely away from the play. 24 Chris Blocker and 10 Phil Nash were the only players on that side, and it's going to be a procedure call against Oklahoma.
And they need to get this one into the end zone because they missed that 2-point conversion, so they're still down by 5. Nice play by the freshman from Syracuse, Ricky Simpson, number 98. Good job of not letting Fasson in the end zone, even though it would have been called back.
Illegal formation on the offense. They did not have 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards, repeat first down.
That's another penalty inside the 5. I mean, when they've had penalties today, it seems like it's been down inside the 5.
And they had no penalties in the first half, and now shooting themselves in the foot just a bit.
They committed a penalty on the kickoff to start the second half as the ball now spotted back at the 7. First and goal from the 7. Moore quickly up to the line of scrimmage. Parker with it. Look at Parker. Drive! Do they count it? The officials aren't signaling. Oklahoma wants it a touchdown, and they're going to say he just came up shy. Does he have some drive and determination?
He put a move on Moreland Greenwood. Now they're inside in the red zone, so they're putting the linebackers up. Moreland Greenwood had a clear shot at him, number 52. Just watch this little stutter step to the outside, and boom, right back to the inside. Moreland Greenwood puts his head down a bit, just that little stutter step, and he's almost in the end zone.
Second and goal, inside the 1. Moore up to the line of scrimmage, over the top, touchdown Oklahoma. They have not had a lot to cheer about here in Norman. The last home victory, September 23rd of '95, against North Texas in the 1 year that Howard Snellenberger was head coach.
Look at the momentum. At the end of the third quarter, when we came back, we saw the whole team on the field, you know, cheering each other on, saying, come on, we're right in this game. We got him where we want it. We're running all over the place. And now it looks like Oklahoma want to go for the smart call here. They're going to put them up by 3 points if they make the 2 points.
They've got to hurry now. 5 on the play clock. And now he's going to call a timeout. He ran out of time. So Oklahoma has to burn their second time out of the half. 10:47 left to go from Norman. This is some kind of college football game. 29-28 Sooners. Roger Twibell, Mike Golick, and Myron Patton back with you here in Norman as the Sooners will go for 2, their third 2-point attempt of the day. They lead by 1. Moore on the option, and they tried the option last time, and it was stuffed, as Delane Morgan has run it perfect both times. And a penalty flag goes down. Flag in the end zone.
Tried to come back with the exact same 2-point play they tried last time. Unfortunately for Oklahoma, same result. Syracuse played it well.
Parker today, 26 carries, 228 yards, 1 reception for 19. 247 total yards.
What a huge lift for John Blake. You see him on the left there in this Oklahoma program. If they could pull this one up. First home game win since '95. That will do so much, especially for a bunch of young kids in this program like they have.
You know, you look at moments in a career or lifetime, and for John Blake in his young lifetime, you'd look at a game against Syracuse, a team that's coming off 2 9-3 seasons, and if he could pull this one off, he'd look back on maybe the game that made it for him.
And you got to like his philosophy. I mean, he's involved in the kids. Let's get the call.
Dead ball foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the kicking team. The 15 yards will be assessed on the kickoff.
Now that hurts. You're only up 1, and you're going to give Syracuse great field position. Let's talk about John Blake and the type of player he's bringing in. He's got a separate line at his house that the players have, and they can call him if they have a problem or want to talk to him.
Well, here comes the Schooner.
He's taking a real interest in these kids and the type of a player he's bringing into this program. He really wants to raise it back to the level. You know, he's an alum here. Obviously has a lot of heart feelings for the school.
I'd like to remind you, we've got more college football coming your way on ESPN. And notice the time, 7:56 Eastern, 4:56 Pacific. It's Alabama and Vanderbilt. First SEC game for both of these teams. And they both have new coaches. Coverage begins with the weekend kickoff show at 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 Pacific. It's college football on ESPN Thursday.
7:56.
You want to be precise. So those folks that are busy and you know, they've only got so much time in their day, they can.
Plus, you think it's naturally going to start at the top of the hour. Surprise you a little bit.
Don't argue with those times. 8 plays, 61 yards. The touchdown, and you can see the shadow of the press box engulfing the north end of the field here at Owen Field. As Jeremy Alexander with the wind to his back.
Good opportunity here for Syracuse to get some great field position.
The ball at the 20, but he does have the wind to his back. As the deep man, Turner and Johnson standing at the 15.
He's been kicking line drives all day. Really needs to get this one up into the wind.
Got some height on that one. Turner goes back inside the 10, fumbles the ball. And Turner at the 15 is driven back. Oklahoma with their coverage down there, and number 8, Brandon Daniels, the first man to find him.
Well, you know, last week it all went against Oklahoma. This week they're starting to get a few things going their way. They get back up on the kickoff, a nice one, and they get the drop kickoff and great coverage. So, you know, at least for this week anyway, the breaks as of now going Oklahoma's way.
It will be interesting to see Syracuse offensive strategy at the moment. Will they throw the ball? Will they be content to try to do it on the ground? Rob Conrad, their big running back, is out with what we're told is a rib injury. Kyle McIntosh was shaken up, although he has come back now to the end of the game.
Well, Syracuse offense is based off a lot of different looks and a lot of different plays, and I think that's what they need to go. Don't stick to one thing. Mix up the run, mix up the pass, do some play action, throw some optionness there, and try and get Oklahoma on their heels a little bit, not sure of what they're going to do, because right now, Oklahoma's controlling the line of scrimmage, and when you do that, you're usually going to win the game.
First and 10 from the 16. Daniels in motion. McIntosh has got it. And McIntosh with maybe a yard. Dale Allen, 84. The first man there to get him. Also Kelly Gregg, number 97.
Oklahoma really forcing the issue. Dale Allen, Corey Ivy up, moving up toward the line, trying to fill the gaps. They're doing a nice job of playing gap defense right now. We talked to Kelly Gregg. They don't do a lot of two-gap and straight up on the lineman. They like to shoot some gaps and play the shoulders, and right now they're bringing up linebackers to keep playing more of those gaps.
2nd and 8 from the 18. McIntosh, the lone back, 2 tight ends. Under 10 minutes to go. Short drop by McNabb, comes near side, and the pass was intended for Spotwood. And Mike Woods was over there on the coverage. I'll tell you, Oklahoma's done a nice job with Quentin Spotwood, the leading receiver for Syracuse.
Well, they have. They're really actually doing a nice job on the outside guys, save for a couple of big plays. And I think what Syracuse needs to do is use their tight ends. They got some big tight ends. Again, they're not going to run the field very well, but they'll be good possession downs. And it was 3rd and 8. You hit a tight end for a 4 or 5 yard pass, let him drag the tacklers for a few more yards. But he's really trying to use his big play guys, and Oklahoma's doing a nice job covering them up.
3rd down and 8 for Syracuse. 3 wide receivers. McNabb gets a block, tries to cut it back, still on his feet. Now he's going to throw it downfield, and real smart play there by Donovan McNabb. He didn't have anybody open, and he just overthrew the receiver into an area where there were no defenders.
Boy, what Oklahoma's doing is almost conceding that the end man is going to get chopped and McNabb's going to get the corner. So they're bringing out their linebackers and really forcing McNabb to do something. But credit something, again, that won't show up in the statistics is the defensive backs. They're covering them like a glove right now and giving McNabb nowhere to throw it.
That's the 2nd, 3rd down in a row. 4th and 8, Ferris, the freshman, inside the 5. Doug Duncan, who had punted the first 2 games, Didn't see action today. Ferris had one block, and he has another block. Picked up. Touchdown. 48, Cedric Jones took it in. 48, Cedric Jones took it in. As Ferris has his second punt of the day block. Travian Smith got the first one. Did Smith get that one too, Mike? I want to make sure.
A lot of people in there. Again, this is a new punter. His first punt was the first punt this afternoon was his first punt in his career.
Alexander on to attempt the point after. And this would be a big one. This would give him an 8-point lead. Got it. 9:31 to go. 36-28 Oklahoma. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by the Ford F-150. Strength after strength after strength. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. People who know use Valvoline. And Thrifty Car Rental, renting cars with pride worldwide. Best of all, it's thrifty. Well, Travian Smith got the first block. We thought he probably got the second block, and we made sure. And folks, Travian Smith,
he came from the exact same spot he did last time. Let's see Cedric Jones scoop it up and just drive his way into the end zone. But Travian Smith, again, we said one of the best athletes on the field. 2 blocks for the day, and Jones picks himself up. Nice little touchdown.
Cedric Jones, a sophomore from Aldous, Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, which last year was plagued by other teams blocking kicks and scoring touchdowns off those blocks. They've been doing it today as Alexander knocks it out of the end zone. And this is a fired up Oklahoma defense. It's a fired up Oklahoma team. In the stands, the fans are on their feet.
And that hasn't happened in a long time here late in the ball game. The Oklahoma fans able to stay on their feet and cheer. You see now Aaron Lewis down. Remember, Rob Conrad is already out of the game with some bad ribs.
That's Aaron Lewis.
And now Lewis down.
All right, while we've got a moment, let's check in with Myron Patton. Myron?
Guys, if Cedric Jones looked like he knew what to do with that football once he picked it up, it's because in high school, he was a fullback, a very tough fullback. When he came to Oklahoma, they switched from the defense, defensive end, and the linebacker, but you can tell he still knows how to run with that ball once he gets it in his hand.
He knew what to do with it, Myron. He just tucked it under and put his head down and went for the end zone.
Well, he did. He knew where the goal line was. He got drawn to it like a magnet. He sure did look like he knew what he was doing.
36-28, 9:26 to go. This Oklahoma defense, and I think the key, the last 2 times Syracuse has had the ball, it's been 3 and out.
Right.
1st and 10 at the 20. McNabb checking off at the line of scrimmage. On the option, McNabb. Across the 30. Donovan McNabb to the 35, and maybe it's time that Donovan McNabb just takes over and does it himself.
Absolutely. The best player on the field for Syracuse. We told you earlier they didn't really want him running a whole lot of option today. Not feeling good. He's already been sick once in the game. The heat are getting to him, and you can see on his face still grimacing and breathing hard. But you know what? It's crunch time, and your big players have got to come up with the big plays.
Well, we mentioned earlier in the game the coaches were very honest in their appraisal of his performance last week. They thought he was fatigued in the second half. They'd never seen that from him before. Of course, the Dome in early parts of the college football season are very stuffy, very hot. Right now they're in the shadows of Memorial Stadium here. 1st and 10, ball at the 36-yard line. That's Darrell Daniel in motion. McNabb from behind. Looked like he ran into his own man. Given chase there was 93 Martin Chase and also Dale Allen, 84. As Aaron Lewis is going to come back into the game.
Again, they like the little half roll here to try and get him on the corner a bit, looking to throw. But he saw that big hole and went for it pretty quick. But Oklahoma, big on the interior part of their defense, but fast everywhere else, and they were able to close in on him.
Well, Maybe this will be two amazing finishes 2 weeks in a row for Syracuse. They were on the losing end last week against North Carolina State in overtime. On 2nd and 8 out of the shotgun. Pass broken up at the 40. Dale Allen, he's been all over the field today.
And they're letting him play all over the field. Sometimes you see him come up and step into the line. They're going to give him some freedom. You know, he's just a sophomore, but they're going to give him some freedom. He can disguise some defenses. Step into the gaps, back out, play some man. He's doing it all.
What Bill Young told us yesterday, he said, we had some kids that played against Northwestern, had never played before. We didn't know they could play. And you know what? They went in there, and we were surprised.
You know, you talked about the first-time starters last year. As you look at Bill Young, the D coordinator for Oklahoma, 22 players from Oklahoma got their first collegiate action last week.
3rd and 8, they're 0 of 3 in the last 3 third-down situations. 3 wideouts, lone setback, straight drop by McNabb. Now he has a man open downfield. He's going to run for the first down. McNabb still on his feet. Donovan McNabb to the 39-yard line, where Dale Allen makes the tackle. I don't think McNabb's going to take any chances. I think when in doubt, he's going to try to do it by himself. He had a man open that time.
He did. Kasim Cinceno, he was wide open. I thought he was going to lob the long one because he was open. You see him take off again out of the pocket, look for the big play, and he was winding up to go to him. Kasim Cinceno was wide open, but I agree with you. I think Donovan McNabb is going to try and put the load on his shoulders. 23 yards on the pickup, 1st and 10, 39-yard line, and McNabb is out. McNabb is out. Keith Downing in. McNabb, who was sick earlier in this game, is taking a break as they'll hand it to McIntosh up the middle, and he's got a yard or two, not much more, as 98, Steve Williams, a sophomore. Big 6'4", 280-pounder. Also, he plays behind Kelly Gregg. Williams does, and was also an outstanding wrestler in high school. And Donovan McNabb being treated by the trainers. Great play by the Oklahoma defense. They knew that was going to be a run. When you bring a quarterback running off and come in to take a snap, they stacked everyone up on the line to stop that. 2-yard pickup. 7:33 left to go. Downing looking downfield. Got his man. That's Daniel. And that should be enough for the first down inside the 30 down to the 29-yard line. Ghana Joseph, number 29. A free safety. An outstanding 1996. Made the tackle. That's what Syracuse needs to do, those short passes. You've got 2 new defensive tackles in for Oklahoma, so they're not getting the pressure they've gotten with Kelly Gregg and Martin Chase. The young guys are in there, so they may not be as effective with a push up the middle, giving the quarterback a little more time. Jeff Lowe is in the game. He's split to the top of your screen on 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. Keith Downing. He'll run it to the right. Tries to pitch it. And fortunately, pitched it out of bounds. McIntosh was there to get a handle on it. Travian Smith was the man chasing Downing down. Well, I think they let that one go just a little too long. I mean, he pitched it, and McIntosh was almost standing on the sideline when he got the pitch. Look where he is when he pitches the ball. He's only a couple of steps from the sideline. That's very dangerous. End up losing 3 yards on it. And Donovan McNabb is back in the game on a 2nd down and 13. Clock's running. Less than 6.5 to go. This is a battle with attrition right now. Which team is more fatigued? Out of the eye, Turner was the wide receiver. And McNabb eludes one tackler. McNabb's got room to the outside. Donovan McNabb turns it up and is driven out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Boy, can he hang, though? Is he going to be able to make it back to the huddle? He may have to go off the field again. He's on his knees. Mike, I'm telling you, he's like a fighter on the ropes right now. He may have to go take a couple of more plays off. We have a player down. It's Dale Allen. You saw the quick pressure on him. Kelly Gregg and Martin Chase are back in the game. So Kelly Gregg got some quick pressure on him up in the middle. Wasn't able to hold on to him. See, McNabb gets out of it, and there he goes, breaking outside again. Those ends have got to stay to the outside. And then his speed takes over. He eluded Martin Chase, and then
Ivy and then Dale Allen over there to chase him down. McNabb 12 carries, 60 yards.
He's down again on his knees on the sideline.
5:59 left to go. Now that's Keith Downing talking to Paul Pasqualoni, the head coach at Syracuse.
And they're down 8, so if they're able to get it in the end zone, they're going to have to go for 2. A lot of people starting to wither a bit in this heat.
You know, it's interesting. Syracuse didn't open the 1996 season until September 7th. This year they were played 3 games by September 7th.
Could be, you know, you think it may be an advantage because they're getting into their routine. Football players, because they play once a week, get into a routine of being used to do something every week. When you have that week off, it kind of throws the schedule off. Players like to be in a routine. They like to know. They like to be told what time you're supposed to be somewhere. It makes it very easy on their life.
Yeah, they've got 3 open days later in the year, and plus a Thursday night game, so there are 4 Saturdays they won't play. Downing's in at quarterback on 1st and 10 from the 15. McIntosh with the football. McIntosh with a gain of 4 down to the 11. Pee Wee Woods and Ghana Joseph were there to make the tackle as Donovan McNabb.
Well, they have to be happy. Every successful play they have without Donovan McNabb in the game, it gives him a chance to catch his breath. He'll come in and try and explode for that 1 or 2 plays. Boy, he's really doing everything he can just to make it to the end of this one.
I want to tell you, folks, this is a guy who is in terrific shape. I mean, he played on the Syracuse basketball team. I mean, he is a strong young man. Very talented. He's a terrific leader, too. I mean, this team follows. He leads. 2nd and 6 from the 11. McIntosh. Touchdown, Syracuse. Great effort by Kyle McIntosh. And Aaron Lewis with the block to get him into the end zone. And that touchdown scored right in front of the Syracuse fans, and there are a few of them because you can see all the orange in that corner.
Yeah, they got their little corner of the stadium over there, and they ran right to it. Again, a little counter play. Starting one way and running ball the other way as McIntosh got a nice block by Aaron Lewis. Then you see the backside guard pulling and Lewis getting out in front of him, taking on Pee Wee Woods and taking him out. Big play here, 2-pointer.
Yep, 36-34. So Syracuse for the 14th consecutive game over 30 points.
And I don't think there's any surprise Donovan McNabb is back in the game for what could be, if not the biggest, one of the biggest plays in the game. There's about 5 or 6 plays during a game that can really turn the tide.
I didn't hear what that official said, but they've started the play clock. McNabb has Kevin Johnson split to the top. McIntosh, the lone setback. Darrell Daniel to the bottom of the screen. 2-point conversion attempt. McNabb, one receiver falls down in the end zone. McNabb being chased, and he is brought down at the 15-yard line by Corey L. Ivy. So 5:08 left to go. Oklahoma leads it by 2. 36-34 from Norman. A young quarterback at USC is McIntosh after coming off the field, just on his knees, trying to get his breath.
Yeah, these guys aren't, that's not despair because they're losing. These guys are flat out whipped. They are tired. And these are great athletes who are tired. These aren't overweight linemen.
Trout to kick it off. And a low kick to Jackson. Picks it up at the 10. Jackson just going to play it safe. Takes it up to about the 28-yard line. He saw a seam for a moment. I think he said, I'll just, just get it on the ground. And here is the play here. The failed 2-point conversion.
You know, here's a problem where sometimes Donovan McNabb thinks he can get out of every situation. You know, normally you would just throw it up into the end zone and see if something will happen. I believe he thought he could have avoided Coriel Ivy, but Ivy was able to take him down. Normally you just want to throw it up into the end zone and try and make something happen.
You can be sure here that Oklahoma, who's done it on the ground all day, will keep it on the ground with 4:58 left to go. They've got a 2-point lead, 36-34. As the handoff, and on the left side, the running of this man, number 33, Demond Parker. That's D-E-M-O-N-D, Demond Parker. You will remember his name. You'll hear much, much more about him.
He is no doubt going to jump in to the national scene. And they're running an offense right now, Roger. They can walk up to the line of scrimmage and tell Syracuse, hey, we're going to run the ball. They're not fooling anybody right now.
Pickup of 5. They'll work that play clock. You see Moore sort of taking his time, watching that play clock. And this is a team that likes to run up to the line of scrimmage and get off plays quickly. And maybe a gain of about 2 there. Jason Walters and Jason Poles both there on the stop of it. I'm wondering, a team that's so used to just running up and going. Right now, they're walking up and trying to run the clock down. We've got a timeout. 4:03 left to go. Oklahoma by 2 and 3rd down and 3 when we come back.
0-5.
It's sophomore wide receiver Quentin Spotwood, who has been helped off the field. A number of Syracuse players have had to leave today. We've not seen any Oklahoma players.
No, we haven't. From what we understand, Quentin Spotwood has gotten an IV to replace some fluids and it's a little weary when he goes off the field.
Oklahoma 9 of 15 on 3rd down today. 3rd down and 3. Look at this run right there across the 40 to the 41. This is a man on a mission. Demond Parker finally brought down by Jason Poles.
You know, we said at the top, John Blake said, I'll give him the ball as much as he wants it.
He wanted it.
And he definitely wants it on a hot day. Another nice move. This guy could be the king of the cutback. Starts it out, makes a nice move, finds that little hole and just scoops through it. And he exactly knows where that first down marker is and knew where to get it.
Mike, Syracuse with 2 timeouts remaining. Clock running. Under 4 minutes to go as John Blake looks on. 36-34, 2-point lead. And Parker's rush for 242 yards. The single game record at Oklahoma. Drake Pruitt with 294. 1st and 10, 40-yard line. Parker. Boy, he's got some space. To the 48. He scares defensive backs, doesn't he?
And you see him when he was down. He was mad. Phil Nash made a great one-on-one tackle, and Parker's mad. He thinks he should have been able to juke him. If he did, he'd have been gone. Dick Winder, the offensive coordinator, came over from Texas Tech. A lot of credit too to this offensive line. Again, a hot, muggy day down there.
Michael Rose having a few words with his coordinator.
He's thrown some great blocks also on some of the options.
Elliott 244 last year against San Diego State, so a new career high. 2nd and 2 from the 48, less than 3 minutes to go. Kazan cuts it back. Look at him maintain his balance, and that's another Oklahoma 1st down. Oh, the big man nearly slipped, but he did a little slide. And he got right back into it.
Gumbo slide. Yeah. What a great pair. You've got the moves of Demond Parker and then the straight ahead ability of Jermaine Fazan. Does a nice cutback job and sliding back. And then again, he knows exactly what the first. They know to get to those sticks. They get to those sticks, that keeps the clock moving.
Same high school as Cordell Stewart down in Marrero, Louisiana. 1st and 10, 46-yard line, 2.5 to go. Eric Moore's done a nice job as Oklahoma has used the ground to their advantage today. Hassan inside the 45, down to the 43-yard line. Syracuse with 2 timeouts remaining. Be interesting to see how Paul Pasqualoni, he's going to use one right now.
You know, talking to Dick Winder, he said he'd like to run 90 plays. He thinks a lot of good things can happen. That was Oklahoma's 70th play, so they're not going to get to 90. But, you know, taking into consideration the heat involved and how it's wearing down Syracuse, 70 is going to prove probably to be enough.
I'll tell you what, there's another Syracuse player about the 34-yard line that's just sort of bending over trying to get some breath. As we check out some scores around college football today, Wyoming with a big lead over Iowa State. Texas A&M, I don't think they should have too much trouble with Sam Houston.
No. That cool zone's getting a workout. That fan throwing out some water over on Syracuse sideline.
Mike, are you surprised that Syracuse is having such trouble keeping players out on the field?
Well, you know, it is a bit, because in August, when they come to school and they're practicing in August, you know, they're up in New York. It's still humid up there. I mean, so they're practicing in the humidity. They're running in the humidity. You know, this is only, you know, we're only a couple of weeks into the season, and I find it hard to believe that they're that far out of shape.
UCLA making a move on Tennessee as Washington now has stretched it out over BYU. .353 yards rushing so far today for Oklahoma, and this crowd who hasn't had a lot to cheer about for well, last win here at home, September 23rd of '95. 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go, a 2-point lead.
John Blake's got to be happy. He instilled a game plan, and it's working to step in the right direction.
2nd and 7. Ball at the 43-yard line. Jason Freeman in motion. And a fumble. And Parker falls on it wisely. Falls on it. Back at the 48-yard line, Jason Walters, the left defensive end, came busting through, and Syracuse wants another timeout. That'll be their last.
Let me tell you what, John Blake is the second youngest coach in college, but he's going to grade faster than anybody else. He can have this game in hand, and then you see the ball on the ground with 2 minutes to go, right around midfield, and all the opponent needs is a field goal. That'll make his heart stop.
Oh, man. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 17.
And they won't get fancy here. They're probably just going to run it, maybe try and box to the outside a little bit, end up having a punt and really try and pin them in.
Well, as you look at Syracuse, next week they have to travel to Virginia Tech and get into the Big East. Meanwhile, Oklahoma with another week off. So they play a week, take a week off, play a week, take a week off, and then they're at Cal on the 20th of September. And Wake Forest has beaten Northwestern 27-20.
I mean, nothing new for them. It's another year in a row of doing that. Well, everybody's surprised but Wake Forest, probably.
That's right. I'll tell you, Dick Winder is one of the all-time characters. And there's a man, Paul Pasqualoni, has to be very concerned. I mean, Oklahoma is a tough team to prepare for, because as he told us the other day when we talked to him, he says they have such terrific athletes. He says, you know, sooner or later they're going to come together. And Winder has gotten his guys to play some terrific football so far today. So let's see what they do on this big 3rd down, as Moore is just going to hold on to it, and he hits the grass at the 45. Now Syracuse out of timeouts.
Eric Moore on the keeper.
Now that was a planned quarterback draw. They weren't going to chance Eric Moore throwing the ball in the air. And I'll tell you what, problems they've had in the kicking game. And Mr. Shackelford needs to come through for him.
Well, they're going to let the clock run down. 20 on the play, 1:32 on the game clock, and Shackelford has not made his way out there yet, as he'll have the wind to his back. Right, it'll be one advantage. He knows a little about pressure. He's played baseball at the Big 12 level.
If you want to jump it over,
again, he'll need to get it in the air, take advantage of the wind, and let his cover team get down.
So 1:11 remaining on the clock.
dead back off, delay of game on the offense, 5 yards, repeat 4th down. The clock will start on the snap.
So Brian Shackelford, a baseball player here at Oklahoma, hadn't kicked since his high school days in McAllister, came out this fall and won a punting contest. He's at his 25-yard line. Good snap. And a wobbly kick coming into the near side. Good bounce. Picked up by Kevin Johnson. And Johnson will run it out at the 22-yard line. So Shackelford got the job done. And Syracuse, with no timeouts remaining and a minute and 1 second left, will have the football. They trail by 2, 36-34. And all they need to do is give their field goal kicker a chance.
And you know Donovan McNabb is going to be on the field for this.
McNabb's had a rest and back into the game. Nate Trout, just to keep in your mind here, his career long is 43 yards. First and 10, 23-yard line out of the shotgun, and it goes between his legs. Picks it up, still on his feet. Finally brought down at the 9-yard line. No timeouts remaining. No timeouts remaining.
Now that's something that would have happened to Oklahoma in the past.
Rocky Bright, one of the first players there, along with Corey L. Ivy. Second down and 24. They're in the three-man front right now. McNabb, with no pressure at all, throws it downfield. Receiver still on his feet. Kevin Johnson. My goodness. All the way down to the 44-yard line before Mike Woods and Ghana Joseph got to him.
16 seconds now. They'll start the clock once they set the ball and the chains get down, so the offense does have time to get in position.
Nate Trout, a career-long 43-yarder. So they've got to get it down around the 30 as McNabb throws it down with 16 seconds remaining.
To equal his long, they'll have to at least get to the 25-yard line, which would make it about a 42-yard field goal. Oklahoma just going to play off. They're just playing off, and Oklahoma has a three-man rush, so McNabb can just stand in the pocket and wait for someone to cross underneath, because he's really not going to hit a big play. John Blake imploring his people to get a rush.
Well, the shadows now cascading all the way across Owen Field at Memorial Stadium.
They still need about 30 yards, 25 to 30 yards to get in field goal range.
First and 10, 44-yard line. McNabb trying to bring his team back. Will throw down the middle. He's got a receiver. The catch made. Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson at the 25-yard line.
Again, the clock will stop until they get going. We'll get a kill play here, and they're going to get a shot at a field goal.
They spotted at the 26. And McNabb will throw it down. 2 seconds came off the clock. 5 seconds left to go. Well, let's go to New York quickly. Another exciting finish in college football. John?
Tennessee and UCLA, under 2 minutes remaining. Skip Hicks is hit by Leonard Little, and the ball pops loose, and that may have done it for the comeback of the Bruins. There's about 1:40 left in this game. Tennessee just trying to hold on. Roger.
All right, John. Trout, 3 of 4 this year, is long 39. His career long 43. Ball's put down, a 44-yard attempt. No! Oklahoma wins it! Oklahoma wins it! 36-34!
First time since 1995 they won it on their home grass. Boy, let them celebrate. Let them enjoy this one. Well, Roger, for 1 week anyway, Oklahoma football seemed to be back.
All you got to do is take a look down there as Pasqualoni and Blake hug at the middle of the field. It came down to the final seconds, the final moment. Special teams, who have been a battle for John Blake in his short tenure as head coach, came through big. Travian Smith blocked a couple of punts today. And it was a battle of attrition as the Syracuse players literally ran out of gas in the second half. And the Oklahoma players stood strong. And John Blake and the Oklahoma Sooners pick up a 36-34 victory over the Syracuse Orangemen in an absolutely exciting college football game from Norman.
Hopefully John Blake casting the demons aside, get the first home victory here since '95.
Well, the excitement has returned to Memorial Stadium here in Norman. Final score, 36-34. For Myron Patton, Mike Golick, I'm Roger Twibell. Thanks for being with us. OU wins it.